Welcome in, everybody. It's our second game here of Xenon Gaming Series playoffs. We just saw Mormon Battalion take down Team Unk in dramatic fashion, going all the way to map 3. This time around, we're going to be bringing Fluffy AIMERS Thrive to your screen. And honestly, Ali, this is our first game, and we got a planned team, but I think this could be worthy of a final. We have two very talented teams coming your way.
Totally do agree there. These are both rosters that I could definitely see going the distance, if not, like you said, the finals. And it's a little bit like that Berlin Major 2018 situation with the CSGO where we had Liquid versus Strellis in the semifinals, right? A little bit before you'd want to see that matchup normally. But regardless, it'll be a good game to cast, and I'm glad that you and I are the ones that get to cast it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So let's go ahead and go take a look at our what do we got here? I think we've got some rosters coming our way, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so Thrive finished #1 seed. They only lost to Wildcard Academy. Yeah, this is a team that looks really strong, but I think in the back of your mind, you're just thinking about Fluffy AIMERS and how they have been on a hot streak outside of XGS. And they're probably going to take a little bit of that momentum coming into this. But dude, Thrive, they've been looking like one of the best teams, most consistent. They haven't gone to any overtimes. They just had that one game outside of that. They've been probably the most consistent team.
Yeah, the first game I casted this season of Xenon was them 7-0ing Karn & Co. in incredibly convincing fashion. And to be kind of fair, right, that was a Karn & Co. that was definitely struggling, going through some growing pains with its new roster. But the ability to just take that and go 7-0 with it in the fashion they did is still very impressive nonetheless. And they've been saying for a little bit that they are now one of the top dogs of T2. And with the kind of conversation that sparked up around CL relegations because of Fluffy AIMERS and their performance recently, this is a really good opportunity for them to definitively show that they are one of the top dogs.
Yeah, and as for Fluffy AIMERS, these guys have been on a tear outside of Xenon. They did win Blitz Gaming versus Aerial Arise, and then they also went all the way to a grand final in the Wildcard Aces restart. Or not, the Wildcard restart, and the Wildcard Aces restart. And that, I mean, I think that really, that whole weekend was just an opportunity to show that, like, T2 can hang with T1. This is a team that finished for the play-ins. Like, Fluffy AIMERS had to come to the play-in, right? And yet, they're going the distance in Wildcard and end up losing to SSG on the final day. So I think everyone knows now that Fluffy AIMERS, they could do it if they want to. Like, they could beat you at will. It just depends on, like, if they're going to lock in. And you mentioned to me that in an interview that JJ said, like, they weren't really locked in. We saw some subs come through for these guys in some of their games in Xenon. But they're really locked in now. The switch is flipped. And I think you can see it with the whole starting 5 being in the lineup.
Yeah, it is a team where there's definitely like a little bit of a... You gotta see the switch being turned, like you said. And some of the games you casted previously where they weren't like fully locked in, you see people go for aggressive plays that might not normally go for. You kind of see like less structure than they normally like, because Fluffy AIMERS is a team that likes to have some method to their madness. And a lot of that method kind of disappears when they don't care as much. But we saw in Restart that when they're locked in, they are locked the hell in.
Yo, yeah, for sure. You have to keep your eye on Fluffy AIMERS if their head is fully in the game. And kind of spearheading that is JJ, and you always have to keep an eye on him, what he might do in the leadership department. Let's go ahead and take a look here at some comparison of the stat alley. What's really standing out to you when you take a look at this?
So I kind of said before that Fluffy AIMERS, they like to have some method to the madness. And so kind of to show that, I wanted to look at the opening kill time a little bit here, because it is a good bit higher than Thrive's is. Thrive's is 99 seconds, average both attack and defense, and Fluffy AIMERS is 117 seconds, averaging both attack and defense. And that kind of shows a bit of a playstyle difference that I wanted to highlight, which is that Thrive like to get in quickly. If there is an opportunity for them to go and pinch a guy out, they're going to do it as soon as they have that opportunity. Whereas Fluffy AIMERS like to set themselves up just a little bit more. And we see that kind of play out with the statistics here, right? The conversion rate for Thrive being 79%. That means 4 out of every 5 rounds they get the opening pick, they end up winning off of it. And they even have a 50% recovery rate, or 49% more specifically recovery rate, for an opening death if they lose that opening player. And so this very fast and aggressive playstyle that Thrive has a little bit contrasts with the kind of the way Fluffy Aimers like to go about things, building up a little bit more to that early fight to ensure they win it.
I think a 60% conversion rate on your opening kill is kind of a little flat. I mean, you should probably be around Thrive's numbers. I mean, heck, you go up a man. But the fact that they just went over half of their rounds that they do go up a man, I think that's a little bit concerning. But I think you also always have to keep in mind that these stats are not maybe the full potential of Fluffy Aimers, because we do know that they haven't necessarily been in like full form.
Got a bit of a player head-to-head here, and it's going to be MK versus JJ. Two very vocal figures in this scene, and kind of something we thought would be fun to highlight because, I mean, well, like I said, they're very vocal. They're the ones you often see in interviews post-game, as well as with people like Fiend, because they like to talk, and they like to talk their trash as well. In fact, we saw JJ throw some words at MK in the interview that he got after they beat forgetting who it was now, to get into this in the first place. And so we're kind of expecting them to light up the all chat a little bit here, as well as each other potentially.
Yeah, I mean, JJ and Anki, I mean, whether it's at each other or whoever, but they'll pick a fight with anyone. When they win, they'll let you know that they got the win. Those guys, I mean, we'll probably be seeing one of them all ready for. I don't know what, like, people might be at home, like, trying to make a prediction here. Fluffy Aimers, we're going to be seeing a new team that we haven't seen in the regular season of Xenon. Everything you know about them from what we've seen in their previous games, we kind of have to throw out because they closed out kind of poorly. But Thrive, they've established themselves in this series. Now we're going to go to our maps. Remember, folks, this is a best of 3. And I think immediately for me, seeing Cafe, Thrive was duly in this season. You mentioned that 7-0 their first game. Cafe has been their map. So I mean, if they were to lose this one, it would be insane. Wait, Lair? Wait, I didn't know we were going to Lair. I think it's meant to be Nighthaven.
Yeah, I think we were told in the pre-show. Yeah, so it says Lair twice. It's actually Nighthaven that was.
Oh, there it is.
By Fluffy Aimers, which it's interesting to see that one.
Dude, that was like, yo, Lair. I think I saw it once during wildcard on the weekend. I was like, yo.
Yeah. Lair jump scare, jump Lair, if you will.
Jump Lair.
But Nighthaven, kind of an interesting pick in my opinion, because it's the map that we saw them 7-1 Luminosity Gaming on in their opening map of Restart, where they started that tear against Pro League teams that eventually led to them knocking Wildcard out of their own tournament. So it getting through is a little bit interesting to me, especially with Cafe getting through, which is another very good map for Fluffy Aimers.
Yeah, but you got to remember what Thrive was doing on Cafe at the beginning of the season. Like, nobody could beat them, and that's how they got to that imperious 5-1 record that they have. I want to make, so they 7-0 Carnico first day, and then the next day, Chalky was like, hey, let's try and play them. They lost 7-5. And then Aerial Rise said, like, hey, let's have a go at that one. They won 7-4. Like, I think they showed early, like, you gotta ban Cafe if you're gonna come up against us. And now it's made it through in this best of 3. You mentioned it, Fluffy also likes this map too. So there could be some sparks flying on Cafe.
Yeah, map bans are always kind of an interesting thing, just speaking as someone who compete. It's kind of a balance of picking your best map versus their best map. And are you comfortable or are you confident that you're better at that map than they are? Or do you maybe want to go to a map you're a bit worse at, but they're also worse at? And seeing as both these teams like Cafe, it's really not a surprise that we're seeing it. But fun tidbit about Cafe, if you watch Wildcard Restart, they played it versus Luminosity Gaming, which went to 22 rounds with Luminosity eventually closing it out. 12-10, which actually ties G2 versus Empire on Coastline, for those of you who've, been around a little while, for those of you who have mortgages on your houses. But without further ado, we can have a little bit of flyover, admire the nice scenery, and then finally get into things.
Yeah, I mean, it was an insane achievement, and then continuing to do so for Fluffy Aimers. And that really right there, I think, is going to put a lot of fear to anybody that's going to be playing Fluffy Aimers for this playoffs. But Thrive, 5-1, the second best record in XGS. Early interesting ban. Capital going to be brought off the board. That's Fluffy Aimers who are going to make that ban. It's not the most traditional ban we see. I'm curious, Ali, what do you think is the thought? Oh, and then Monty. I was just about to bring this up. JJ's nasty at Monty, and we've seen it. And I think Thrive are maybe trying to counteract that and be like, all right, JJ, we're not gonna let you have that. So I get the Monty ban, but what's the thought process behind the Capital?
So it is an operator that Thrive do like quite a bit, and he has a lot of very valuable utility for just kind of whatever stage of the round you're in. Whether you're in the execute and you want to use the smoke bolts to cut off line of sight, or the fire bolts to dislodge them in their position, or even if you're just roam clearing and you want to do the same thing, he's very powerful for that. And with the fact that Thrive are good at him and like having him on the board, it does kind of make sense that Fluffy Aimers want to take him off of the board. It is a very kind of deliberate target ban.
Yeah, yeah, the Capital was a target ban, and then that Monty was another target ban for Thrive. Mira and Azami will round out our final bans, and we are just about underway. Second floor will be our location to begin our final game of the night. It is quarterfinals of XGS. Fluffy Aimers on the defense in the orange. Thrive on the attack in the blue in this best of 3. For our defense here, we got AC Castle coming out, Tubarao. We also have a Wamai and a Malusi. I don't think anything really coming through that's going to be shocking, but we are going to a first floor to begin with. Yeah, I think typically you see like second floor. I don't know. I feel like it always changes with Cafe. You see some different looks.
I mean, when I used to play at a team called Ethereals, we'd start with mining and then rotate through all 4 sites. So just kind of depends on what the teams want here. I do think it's interesting just to kind of see where they like to start. Is kind of says a lot about how the teams like to play. And Fluffy Aimers, they want to play the, this first floor site, which has a lot of emphasis placed on Vert, just because almost the entirety of reading can be seen from Vert, as well as a good chunk of the other areas of the map as well. So we'll see how that ends up being played out. We don't have anything like a ram or a buck or a sledge. No, not a lot of Vert's going to come out from Thrive here, most likely. But they do have a lot set up to just kind of take and hold that top floor with operators like that Gridlock.
Robadrone coming out from Twist, trying to figure out if he can get a hold of anything to use towards his advantage. I think specifically those Malusis is what's going to be on his mind. So slow from Thrive, and you talked about how they like to play a little bit fast sometimes around. This time around, they're doing their new drone work, make sure everything's clear, but the vertical play is going to be such a massive fast. See Moses seeing a lot of utility being used up towards Piano. It's going to be Rival who might be the point of initiation. Did he see his feet is a question. Here comes Anki. He's going to open up this castle momentarily. Does so. Here comes a 1v1. Rival can't get the shots. He is going to get tagged up. Dropped to 71 HP. He's survived to tell the tale, but Anki now has the information. Hasn't kind of launched over towards bathroom. But still, there's some good control coming in from Fluffy on the second floor.
MK is going to poke and prod here, see if he can find anyone. About a half of the round has elapsed thus far, and Fluffy Aimers are still pretty stalwart in their positions. Look, Thrive have pushed up a little bit, but they haven't really managed to push anyone out just yet. MK is going to look to change that, however. He's going to aggressively lurk into Freezer, but he loses the fight. Deity gets that opening pick, puts Thrive on the back foot, and that he does get another one, but he is refragged by Candle.
Yeah, Aimkey was trying to kind of sneak through on the crouch, but he gets caught out. Still, the man advantage to Fluffy Aimers, but wait a second. Recited doesn't check his corner. Skunky finds the kill. He's now trying to use his backup pistol. The drop shot comes through, and now advantage to Thrive. 48 seconds left. They've got some time to work with it. It's Emilio and JJ left to try and class this one, and they do so. Skunky has been dropped down to 12 HP, so he just needs a single little nudge, and he will be brought down. Fluffy Aimers are in a decent spot with the time, but the man advantage is in favor of Thrive. Moses, he's trying to get his drone all the way from outside into play. He's going to immediately find somebody over by the main staircase. AJ checks the corner, gets the kill. Twist is down. 2v2. But the vertical control is in favor of Thrive, but they are going to have to come down to the JJ with another. He's on a double. Diffuser being going to pick up. Skunky, 12 HP in a dream. He's got 10 seconds to work with. He's going to use some of his Grimbeats, the last one to his name. It's a 1v1 Emilio and Skunky left in it. The diffuser's going down. Skunky hops off the plant. Amelia, you checked the right way. Skunky gets a little unlucky there in first round. Goes to the defense.
Trying to make a very aggressive play upstairs there, but it doesn't work out for Thrive, as the gap they thought they had. Fluffy AIMERS were a little bit more aware of it than was anticipated, and trying to get that man count back did cost them quite a bit, both in terms of man count and in time. And the operators they lost as well were very important, right? Inky is a player that I'd like to call that playstyle kind of feast or famine. You'll see them like kind of pop off a lot, or sometimes not at all. Just depends on if they're able to get up on the board. But they lost Candle as well, who had that gridlock, and I suspect that gridlock was going to be used to kind of quarter off a section of the map that Thrive could kind of claim as theirs. Whether that was the top floor or if they were going to use them for the post-planted reading, we're not really sure because they didn't get to do it. But they lost a lot going for that top floor clear. That gave Fluffy AIMERS a lot more room to breathe, even though they did have a man deficit at a certain point. The amount of time that Thrive spent trying to get that just ended up kind of killing them in the end.
Yeah, Fluffy AIMERS ekes out the round win. Amelia with the final kill. But if you get JJ rolling early, that's probably like the perfect player for Fluffy AIMERS to get on your side rolling. And I mean, he is a streaky player. And I mean, if you have his energy and passion coming through comms from round 1 of a best of 3, yeah, you're in a good spot. We are going to be seeing a Deimos Blitz. This looks like maybe a more aggressive operator lineup coming in from Thrive right now. We've got the Ying as well. They might just try to get in the faces of Fluffy AIMERS early.
It is certainly the play style we expect to see from them, although they are going to have to be a little bit more methodical against Fluffy AIMERS, just because they're not going to leave as many obvious gaps as other teams might, as we saw play out in that first round. JJ on the solo is going to provide a ton of information, especially with Flores being brought out here. You can find those electronics pretty easily, but there's also been a Blitz and a Deimos and a Ying being brought out, and altogether that kind of suggests not an immediate rush necessarily, but Thrive want to get all their ducks in a row, then go for something very quick here. They want to completely and quickly dismantle the pressure on one site, then start getting that plant down. But like I said before that, they need to start getting the pieces together, and the first part of that's going to be an opening pick.
Inky is being very patient on the hatch. He's waiting for somebody to rotate that red staircase, as well as Recited. He's also on the flank off screen, but it looks like they're getting prepared to maybe jump through the window. Here comes some Thatchers. The Blitz is going to come through. Oh, and immediately Skunky's on the floor. Moses is as well. It's a 3v3. It's just immediately happening. There's still a minute 20, but all the action is starting to unfold. Thrive is going to come out on top. It's Emilio and Recited, but Recited was off-site. He was trying to do a little bit of roaming. It looks like he's going to get back in towards the action. And after all the chaos unfolds, Candle has the diffuser. 3v2, a minute left on the clock. Recited, he walks through the smoke. He kind of gets around the door frame. Oh, and now it's all down to Emilio. Do they have his positioning? The diffuser's going down. Can you hear it? I don't think he can. Yeah, he has no clue. And there comes the target from the Deimos. He finds one. And that was the Deimos who he does end up dropping. Oh, and the player got through the window. I was about to say, maybe if you can get him before he rotates out, you can get it. But no, it's not going to happen. Emilio, 30 seconds on the clock. Is he going to go for the window jump? Backs that player down, but he doesn't know where the second player is. That's his another concern. Elbow shot to Candle. I don't think Emilio has a real opportunity, especially with Candle playing his life. And look at Aimkey. Emilio thinks he's second floor, but Aimkey just ended up rotating all the way down. 12 seconds left. This is not going to go Emilio's way unless if he can pull out a miracle play. Yeah, this is going to go the way of Thrive in this one. Emilio does get a consolation kill, I should say. Aimkey cleans it up. Good round from Thrive, and the chaos that we're used to Thrive, they threw it there in full force.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried kind of when they jumped in initially and several bodies fell, but I think the kind of thing with executes like that is they're just going to kind of be a slugfest no matter what. Like, you never do an execute like that expecting it to look pretty. And that is exactly what we see there, but it gives Thrive enough control to get a couple bodies down, and then they played that post-plant perfectly. You had a player outside on the mining balcony, as well as a player outside the dining window, as well as Aimkey kind of floating on that top floor before going to the first floor himself. And it gave them so much control and so much visibility, more importantly, even though Emilio did get a pick in that attempt at the clutch, it just told them exactly where he was. And so Inky realized he's gonna immediately go for the fight on the mining player so he can rotate down into mining himself. And it's not going to be expected from Emilio. He's never going to anticipate that move. And so Emilio wasted all this time going up top just to be met with nothing.
Third floor is our new home. And Fluffy AIMERS, it looks like going to switch things a little bit up from the first floor. Doc being brought out from Rival. We also see and Rooney. So the team looks a lot different than what we saw from below. And Thrive is also going to make some changes. They are still bringing that Ying, but outside of that, really, it is a completely different operator lockup. Is there anything that's catching you out in terms of what we're seeing from the operators, Ali?
Well, everything's pretty standard so far. I do think it's interesting that we see a Doc just because you don't normally see him a ton, since he doesn't like bring a ton of utility. But Rival is a player where you can kind of give him an ACOG and he'll do magic, so it does make sense. What's more interesting to me, though, is that Thrive have been a little bit slower than we'd expect from them this game, and I think that does just speak to, I mean, like I was saying, the kind of method to the madness that Fluffy AIMERS have. It forces you to be more careful, and they don't present many obvious gaps. Even though they are a very aggressive team in of themselves, they're making Thrive work for any control they get, and I think it's catching them off guard a little bit.
Yeah, for me, I mean, Thrive is like getting their execute set up and taking their time, but then once the execute's ready, it kind of just, they unleash and they go through. Candle gets dropped to 68 HP, but it doesn't matter because Aimkey is going to get first pick onto Recited. 1 and 3 start for Recited, a little slow for his standards. That's the mute down for Fluffy AIMERS. A minute 30 left, and I'd imagine that we're very shortly going to be seeing Thrive start to make something. Aimkey has got some good control of red stairs. It looks like he's worried about the flank. Maybe just kind of waiting for his team to get the ball rolling with this execute. But you would imagine that the Ash is going to be the first line of attack. They start making their way slowly up, and Twist is going to follow Emilio, finding the kill. Rival uses one of his Doc Stims as well, so keep that in mind and how much he uses. We're going to see some Yings come out. We're getting rid of those Roonies, so Thrive doing some good work. JJ falls. Thrive restore their man advantage, but it's just going back and forth. Deity now finds Aimkey. You have to dislodge Deity if you want to make any sort of push over towards his side of the map. Here comes some drone work. 45 seconds left. Thrive do have to get something going on right now. Seems like they're struggling to find just the exact information on where everyone is, but Skunky now has some info. He's going to throw out a Ying charge. It doesn't hit Emilio, and he swings off of that. Deity actually is going to get the kill onto Skunky. 3v2, 3v1, all down to Moses. They're unable to find their way past these Roonies in the last 3 players. 18 seconds left. This is surely a round for Fluffy AIMERS.
15 seconds remaining.
Oh, hold on, though. Moses has found a kill. Now 2v1, but the clock is not in his favor. He does have the diffuser if he wants to take it into his own means and just get the plant down, bomb down. But Moses still working through. Not going to happen. Fluffy AIMERS are going to take the round, go up 2-1 and restore their lead.
There wasn't really much utility clear on areas like Pixel once Thrive actually got into the map there. I mean, they got like solid control of Cigar Shop itself, but past that, I mean, they just kind of let Deity exist in that position. And if you've seen the Deity, he can often just be free round wins by himself. And they just left him in a position where he has an ACOG peeking behind a shield. And that just position alone, just him existing, exerted so much pressure onto that Thrive offensive. And they did try to get him out by, I mean, peeking him. But he's going to know how to play behind that shield, and he isn't just going to let Aimkey have an easy gunfight to get him out of there. And so Thrive, they kind of need to focus a little bit more on, I mean, bringing the right utility for the job. They didn't have what they needed to clear out that Pixel shield, and it really came to bite them in the end. And Fluffy AIMERS, they're very good at setting up little pockets like that their players can play inside of without fearing getting easily killed.
5 seconds remaining.
If you're new to Xenon, this is a 6-6 split. Fluffy AIMERS are now going to be defending basement, and we've got Clash from JJ. Of course, he has to have his shield operator. Echo from Deity. We've got some time denial with the smokes and the Goyo. Very, very interesting. I'm curious, what's going to be the play regarding this Echo and maybe the clash as well, where JJ can maybe deny.
It's an interesting pick for sure. I do like the use of the Twitch here from Twist, just kind of right off the bat to get things going with the util clear. Candle as well contributing. And Clash is kind of an operator that is gonna get both more and less powerful as time goes on. More powerful in the sense that she has a lot of stall power. And just when there's 10 seconds left and there's a Clash staring at you, it's not a good time. But if Five are able to get a couple picks going their way, then that's going to become less powerful since it's essentially a gun down. And with the utility clear that's being brought out by Thrive as well, of 180 from the last round, they're going to set themselves up to have a little bit of an easier time working those picks when it actually comes to that point in the round.
Yeah, it's right now it's a Goyo hunt. Find this canisters and open them up. And Twist has done a great job. I've seen at least 3 getting eliminated. He also have the Flores going to work. So a lot of util being eliminated. Thrive should be in a decent position now to probably make an execute. They've gotten rid of a lot of that util from Fluffy AIMERS. Still, it's a 5v5. We haven't seen any crazy action just yet. A lot of vertical control has been given up to Thrive. The Flores. Is this his last Flores, if I'm not mistaken? No, he's got some more. Still can use his Flores drone to get into work. Oh, here comes a double swing onto Rival. Does Rival have any smokes maybe to stall that timeout? Moses finds a kill. Is he going to flick onto that last player? Emilio down to 2 HP. It's now going to be a 4v4, but Emilio is in tapping distance. Oh, Deity now going insane. Deity with a double. Emilio still on to low HP. Aimkey does come from upstairs. I'm going to come and help out now. It's a 2v2, 45 seconds on the clock. Clash, Goyo are the last players for Fluffy AIMERS. Resided and JJ trying to get it done on defense to keep their lead intact. Skunky and Aimkey on the other side. 30 seconds now remain. Stuns coming through. Going right on through that bar wall. Skunky trying to find an opening through this site window, and it's about, can you maybe flank JJ on the shield operator? Not really going to happen because Resided is there in town as well. They know roughly where Aimkey is. Now they definitely know where he is. JJ is going to walk through the bees. It's now a 1v1 between him and the Clash, and you mentioned it in the pregame when you've got 15 seconds left and you just tried to fight a Clash. It's not really going to happen. JJ electrocutes him to death, and Fluffy takes a 3-1 lead going into round 5.
Give him the chair, get the round win. Fluffy AIMERS up 3-1 now. Love it when a good prediction comes true there. Like happened with the Clash, Aimkey had 3 HP left when he tried to go for that fight, and unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. However, very good at working a lot of early control, but Fluffy AIMERS are able to wrestle it back fairly efficiently. And even once they were down to the 2v2 where there's a Clash, and it looks like you're going to have a 2 versus 1 effectively, Resided is able to turn up a little bit, and he only gets 1 kill in that altercation, but he brings Aimkey down to such low HP that there's just nothing he can do since JJ can just walk up to and click left click for a bit, and he's going to die to the shocks. And just that ability to hold on to that ground and retake some ground as well, and again, just whittling down that man count that Thrive has that they bring into the round, is something that's very good to see from them. And it's something they're going to look to continue here onto the rest of this half. It is Cafe, so you do expect the defense to have maybe a little bit of an advantage. That does trend more even nowadays. Fluffy AIMERS, they still want to get ahead here as much as they can, and if they can force Thrive into an awkward position on the second half, doesn't matter what side you're on, still not a good look.
Fluffy AIMERS, they're showing another look as they're going to go for a repeat site now, or first repeat site of the day. They've got Legion, Fenrir, Valkyrie. This is something that Thrive is going to have to adjust for, and we are going to be seeing it with the Blitz, Nomad. We're seeing a lot of different looks coming from both sides of the play. We're not going to, we might, I mean, I guess we could see the rush play that we saw get Thrive their 1-round win through the window. We could see something kind of similar to that maybe try to happen with Skunky on that Blitz. But so far, 2 minutes left. Thrive, I feel like we talked about how aggressive they've been. This feels like a much slower team. As I say that, though, I might be eating my words. Here comes Skunky through and through. He's going to run on through the top floor. He's getting yinked by his teammate, trying to figure out who's who and what's what. Flash, see you later, alligator. Now a 4v4. Candle and Rival down. And Thrive, they've been kind of played slow today. Nope, here comes Skunky through and through. He got yinged by his own teammate, and he's still hunting for wabbits. He looks for more. Can he get close? The hatch is going to be dropped. There's Skunky. He's done a great job to get his team some vertical control, and they've got plenty of time to work it.
This is a very good spot for them to be in here, and they did lose Candle, but he kind of did his job on the top floor there, nonetheless. They're going to know exactly where this Valkyrie is, and they're going to look to go for that swing if he's still in that position, but he has fallen off just a little bit.
Is he behind that pillar?
I believe he's inside.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, now he's going to swing.
He's going to go for the fight. Doesn't come. Nothing comes of it, though.
Yeah, JJ trying to get involved. Minute now on the clock. Still pretty even. One Valk cam found. Aim key. Shooting it. JJ, I don't think he knew how close he was to death. There were 2 players hunting his name down when they had that drone on him. I wonder if they still have that drone on the shelf. The Candle is flipping through it. They might be able to know where JJ is. User's now going to go to the hands of Aim key. I believe Skunky, he's going to want to get aggressive here. Yeah, he's going to drop down to the floor. Here comes a push. Do they know where Recited is? I don't think they know where Recited is. But the advantage to Thrive is a 4v2. Recited might have the play. I don't know if they know exactly where he is. Diffuser is going down. It is all down to Recited. I think he's got too much work to do. The Blitz is going to find out. He's trying to put a Legion trap on his floor. Not going to happen. And the Blitz is another successful pick for Thrive. They are going to make this 3-2, heading to our final round before halftime.
I do think there was a little bit of Thrive being in their own heads in some of these rounds. Is I kind of talked about in the pre-show, they like to be very fast and loose and aggressive. They like to get in the map very quickly and get that opening pick and work that into the rest of the round. And this game, we haven't seen a whole lot of that. They've been very slow and methodical, especially compared to their former selves. And that round, they just kind of say, let's just get in the map. Let's take the Blitz. Let's take the Ying. And we're going to get into that very, very quickly and take the initial control that we want to have. And it works very, very well for them. Even though they do lose Candle, like I had previously said, he kind of did his job in that part of the round with his Candelas. And they use that initial control they got to turn the tides and get the rest of the picks they needed, especially with how patient some players from Fluffy AIMERS are being. As if Recited had been a little bit more aggressive there, or aggressive a little bit earlier, that he probably could have shot both the Blitz and Inky in the back. But unfortunately, in that case, the trigger discipline just doesn't quite pay off how he would have liked.
Fluffy AIMERS are still holding on to their lead. And Thrive, we're finally starting to see a little bit of that aggression come through, and it got them the round. And for me, really what came down for that Thrive is they used their quick aggression to get top floor, and then they did great drone work to figure out where the remaining players were. I love the patience and also the hustle that we saw on that top floor from Thrive. You kind of got to see a little bit of both, in my opinion, on that one. Fluffy AIMERS adjust now. Nothing. I think this is the exact look that we saw from Fluffy when they came up the top floor. So nothing too crazy there. And if I'm not mistaken, the same thing for Thrive. This is the exact same look we had so far. So are we going to see any adjustment? I think this might favor Thrive. They might have some new information to try and adjust.
Certainly is what you would expect to see here. Last time we saw them kind of stall out a lot once they got into Cigar Shop, as they didn't really have the utility to clear everything they needed to. And it kind of came and bit them in the end. Now, though, it looks like they're going to try to be a little bit more thorough with how they clear things. But they also might end up wasting a bunch of utility on this one castle barricade again, which honestly is kind of what contributed to it last time we saw this. They're going to be aggressive onto Deity's position, and it's going to work. Skunky's going to get that pick and dislodge one of the most problematic positions we saw Thrive fail to get out.
Yeah, they had multiple players looking at Deity, and Deity at 7-6, leading the lobby, is going to fall early, so Fluffy AIMERS might be on the back foot with that one. Here comes some stuns. Recited is going to have his screen go all white. They've got a Ying coming out as well. A lot of pressure coming into Recited. Do they know exactly where he is? Oh, he's prone. He's got up playing around with this close-range shotgun. Aim key is a pixel away from potentially seeing him. They've got a ping on him as well. He's going to reposition. He's going to hop down off the balcony. Yeah, and I think that was perfect timing. Aim key was just about to dislodge him from his spot. I still think he thinks he's there. They're trying to figure out where he is. Recited has located to a different spot. Still, man advantage in favor of Thrive, but they've got to get going towards site. C4 from below. Recited takes out the floor underneath Aimkey, but not in time as Aimkey does get a kill. He's still there, folks. He's still there, but he's now the only player remaining. Rival does get a double before being dropped. It's a 2v1. Diffuser is on the floor somewhere for Thrive. They've got to grid it, but they do have control of site. Twist is going to pick up the Diffuser. 20 seconds on the clock. Do they know where Recited is? Well, he made all that noise down below. Hold on a second, folks. Recited might be able to do something about this. Candle falls. 1v1. Diffuser going down. Here comes a sprint. Does he maybe force him off the Diffuser? No. Recited on top of the bar. He's trying to get an angle on. He reads the player. Twist down. Round up. Fluffy Aimers going into halftime with a 4-2 lead.
A lot of disconnection there happening between those two attackers. One of them died far too early, and it just forces a very awkward spot for the last remaining attacker. Recited is going to do a little bit of a victory lap before fully defusing the bomb, as he wants Thrive to know that he just claimed a round that he really shouldn't have.
Oh, most definitely. I think the biggest surprise was Recited was downstairs with C4 and shooting, and yet they had no clue that he was there. It just seemed like, what's going on? How are we dying? A little bit of a lack of awareness on where he was positioned, but great clutch from Fluffy Aimers to get that round.
Yeah, I do have to question the position the attackers had there, as I believe it was Moses was inside a piano while Twist was trying to get the bomb down inside of Cocktail. And it was just such an extended position that I really don't think was very necessary there. But you have the 2 versus 1, you have control of the entire site, and you have the diffuser. You just need to get the plant down there. And I think the idea was that they were going to get the plant down, and then Moses would watch the red walk up, and Twist would watch the white walk up. But instead, Moses just, on that extension, gets killed off, when I really think they could have played much closer together and been absolutely fine. They're probably even better off, as it would have been more protection for the plant and a 2 versus 1 when the plant went down, instead of giving that opportunity over to Recited.
Oh gosh, I can't stand when I see a Capcan for me when I play. It's just like, ew, I'm gonna freaking die because I never drone properly and check my door frames. But we are switching half times, and slides are gonna be swapped. Thrive now on the defense. They're gonna be going for a second. I always want to say first floor, and I see first floor as basement, but that's not how it works on Cafe. It's a second floor hold from Thrive. And this is a different look. We haven't seen a Capcan. We haven't seen a Warden. We saw the Doc come in when Fluffy Aimers was upstairs. On the side of Fluffy Aimers, we are going to be seeing a Finka. I don't think we've seen a Finka yet, if I'm not mistaken. Other than that, though, this does look pretty standard. The defense is really the only team that looks a little bit different from our previous half.
Yeah, Thrive do definitely have their own take on this bomb site, which we'll have to see how that pans out here. Now we're going to see Fluffy Aimers be fairly methodical with how they take things, though we do see Didi trying to get aggressive here. He's walking deep into long bar. Doesn't look like they do. It's going to be successful. He's going to get the first pick and immediately rotate to try to find the second. C4 comes out, but it's still going the way of Fluffy Aimers in the 2 versus 3.
We talked about Thrive. They're the aggressive team. Fluffy Aimers, they're just walking on carelessly. Twist drops a hatch. Did they get a sound cue for that one? Well, he landed Superman style prone. They might have not heard it, because it does mute that sound a little bit. But now 1v3. Fluffy Aimers in a great spot to go up 5-2 on their first attack round. This would be such massive noise. Emilio dies, but he might have just died for the cause. They now know his location roughly. Where is Twist? You've got plenty of time to do a little bit of manhunt here. These are going down. Rival planting. Recited on the coverage. Do they know that he's making his approach? Diffuser has been planted. Recited with the kill. Fluffy with the round. And boy, oh boy, this was Thrive's map at the start of Xenon series. But it might just be Fluffy's time to be the king of Cafe.
I really like the way that lurk into long bar was done. We saw earlier when Aimkey tried to do something pretty similar. I do agree with that. But we saw Aimkey tried to do something pretty similar, but he tried to bite off way more than he could chew. And so instead of getting a clean gunfight that he could win, he ended up being exposed to multiple angles, and he wasn't really able to properly clear them all. And this is just not a good gunfight to take. But when Deity does the same thing, he makes sure that he only exposes himself to what he wants to actively fight in that moment, and then he immediately tries to reposition for the next gunfight, which does end up, he does end up getting killed off by a C4. But by that point, he'd created enough space for the rest of Fluffy Aimers to kind of be in advantageous spots to trade out that man advantage until they had the 3 versus 1 that Twist found himself in, which he did make a really good effort of, but ultimately it wasn't enough.
In the end, wasn't enough. Timeout for Thrive. They are looking at a 2-5 scoreline currently. This is the moment where you really do need to pull out something different, see what the comms are like, and maybe do a recollection of yourselves. Ooh, dude, Fluffy Aimers, they look really good right now. And I love that aggressive take that we saw in their first round. I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that, if that's what caught Thrive off guard. We are now heading to basement, as I like to call it. We're going to first floor, heading on over to the kitchen of this. You're going to see Goyo, Melusi, Wamai. We've got a Warden and a Fenrir. I don't think anything too crazy in terms of the operator selection. A lot of space
really.
denial with that Fenrir and Melusi. And oh boy, Fluffy Aimers. Oh, I thought I saw Blitz for a second. They're switching their operators around. Like it's a ring around, merry-go-round. It's pocket pull posies. I don't know what's going on. Fluffy Aimers, they just select different operators. I'll just wait for the timer to expire for them. But boy, oh boy, Thrive. Maybe there's something in that talk that they had that this should be a round you win. If you come out of your timeout and you lose, and you go down 2-6, just give it to Fluffy Aimers.
It would be rather unfortunate there. Fun fact, by the way, about Melusi and Fenrir being brought at the same time. That is 7 total pieces of space denial utility. Plus, they can both bring bulletproof cameras, which they did. So that is a ton of information and a ton of area denial, which Fluffy Aimers are gonna have to deal with here. And it looks like they want to do something fairly vert-oriented since they do have the ram and the buck at the same time. But if they're not able to properly clear this utility, then once they actually get to the site itself, there's going to be a ton of space that is going to be very difficult to contest just because you won't be able to move or see anything.
I think Rival's going to have such a big job to get rid of a lot of the util, but hold on. First pick goes the way of Recited. Handle down. And Warden's big to lose because the Ying on the other side is going to be a huge factor now. And Emilio is not going to have his direct counter Warden to deal with. Rival, I brought up, I want to see a lot coming from him on the Twitch drone. Trying to go through second floor right now. Thrive, look at this position from Twist. Very aggressive. He is ready to fly out this door at any given notice. But you mentioned, hey, looks like they're going to be playing for a lot of vert control. JJ's opening the floor. Deity is going to fall, but he did get a lot of his rams out. Is JJ going to be able to anybody over towards B? So far, the answer is no. But it does look like Moses is just right there. Doesn't seem like JJ has an angle on him. 4v4 now, minute 30 on the clock. Hopefully, it looks like they're going to take their time in the vert now, Ali.
Yeah, just, you know, like I was kind of saying earlier, right? They're a very aggressive team, but they like to set up that aggression quite a bit. And by getting all of this vertical play done, they can just dislodge any positions the defenders are holding and just make it really uncomfortable to exist in the site. So then when they do want to be aggressive, the defenders are having to not only worry about getting shot from, you know, above you, but they're also just really worried about positioning in general here. We are going to see things quickly and violently swing back into the other direction, though, as no one from Fluffy Aimers can get anything done except JJ.
Well, I mean, if JJ wins this would be massive. A 1v4, now 1v3. And you talked about all that utility and information that Thrive have. JJ trying to eliminate a good whole chunk of it. Now making his way up too far. Do they know where he is? They should know roughly, but seems like nobody's got sight on him. He also has no drones maybe to work with. Not going to happen. Thrive, they get a big bounce back round, but they still got some more work to do. The tide is still in favor of the Fluffy Crusade.
They bring things back just a little bit. Like you said, you want to win that round that you take right after your tactical timeout, and so far that has been done. They do have to go to another battleground, though, which gives a little bit of opportunity to Fluffy Aimers. This is a really good shot by Twist, by the way. We can see a couple different angles. Ooh, nice done. Nicely done from our lovely replay operators and producers that we have working with us tonight.
Yeah, shout out Pride. I mean, they're really stepping up their game for playoffs, and I'd imagine it's just going to keep getting better and better. as we go through. Now
Oh, yeah.
Maestro coming out. Whoa, Moses bringing that out. That's going to be a very interesting operator to see work into the action. But it is going to be a second floor site for Thrive. And now this is crunch time. If you can win this one, I think, yeah, you're down in round advantage, but you are going to snap a little bit of that momentum and start getting things going your way. So an opportunity for Thrive to maybe work their way back into this one. And also, at the same time, defense is a favored on the side. As for Fluffy Aimers, they're going to do, once again, a operator switch. Nothing too crazy. They are going to be bringing the Striker out for Recited. But I think this Brava is going to have a lot of work to do getting control of these Maestros and any other utility that Thrive brought in.
Yeah, if you're going to get a hold of a Maestro cam, or even better, a Val cam, that will provide a ton of value just on its own, even if he doesn't get anything else. So that's undoubtedly going to be the goal that DD has in this round here. There's a lot of emphasis being placed up top here, which means that Fluffy Aimers have their work cut out for them with this top floor take. It's a task we've seen them do before, but now Thrive are coming at this with a little bit of a new perspective. However, though, we'll have to see if that new perspective holds up to things like this Flores that's being brought out, which can destroy utility without you having to actually be physically present inside of the building.
Fluffy Aimers trying to get control of the vertical play. Laura's doing some work as well as Brava Drone. So far, though, nothing's been spotted out. Oh, that's one Maestro cam. Is it going to go online? And that's just one of them. You got to get some of those work done. So good work from DD to get control of that Maestro.
Still a lot of work to be done, however, especially with these positions like inside of Pixel and just inside of Cocktail as well. Candle's going to look to get a little bit aggressive here, just onto these players inside of Cigar Shop as Emilio looks to take down the shield inside of Pixel. He's going to do that successfully, which is going to force AMP to fall off just a little bit, though he has this position inside of Bathroom to fall back on. But Rival, he's going to cut down Twist, force AMP into an awkward position. However, AMP is going to get aggressive here, but it's not going to work as it's a 2 versus 4 now in favor of Fluffy Aimers.
Rival has given opening for Fluffy Aimers with his 2 kills. He will fall for it, but JJ gets the trade. 4v2. Fluffy Aimers in pole position to go to round point. And this, remember, this is Thrive's map pick. So will that be the thing that ends up being the thing? Well, hold on. There's a C4 from below. Is that Skunky C4? I'm pretty sure it is. That might be able to be a big factor in this. Oh, there's some information. Maestro, you better watch out. You better not cry. Somebody's coming to town to bring you down. The information's given away. And that's one of 2 players found out. Yeah, it's Recited's going to figure it out. See you later. Maybe you can be on the nice list next year, but right now you're on the dead list. Fluffy Aimers. They're going to go to match point. 1 round remains on Thrive's map pick. Fluffy Aimers, they just look commanding, especially on that start on their defense in the first 6 rounds. They're taking that momentum into the second half. And boy, oh boy, Thrive, they've got to figure out something now.
The sack is on the attack, and it's going really well for him so far. As Thrive have really struggled, especially once Fluffy Aimers are able to kind of get that opening pick. They're not really good at getting it back. And I would like to amend a kind of previous statement I made, right? I didn't want to imply that Fluffy Aimers was, like, not an aggressive team, although I kind of might have done that with the way I did my pre-show. But the way they like to play, they like to set up that aggression very thoroughly. It's kind of like setting up dominoes, then knocking them over, or like setting up a Rube Goldberg machine. They get everything set up so when they go for that super aggressive play, they can all make sure that any gaps they have are closed, they shore up their edges. And so when Thrive try to aggress back in to get that pick back, they just end up getting caught in this net that's extended around that opening pick that Fluffy Aimers get. And it makes it very difficult for them to really counter what's happening. And it's why we're seeing the 6-3 scoreline that we have right now.
Fluffy Aimers 1 round away from going 1 map up in this best of 3. They are in pole position. Thrive on their map pick. Struggling. I mean, they used to say, like, hey, we're the kings of Cafe. Don't chalice. But remember, I think everyone can kind of agree. This is a new look Fluffy Aimers in Xenon Gaming Series. They showed their class in Blitz Gaming. They showed their class in the Wildcard Restart. And they're doing so on Cafe. Thrive, though, can they maybe find some mojo on the defense? Remember, the defense is favored, so I think there is that little looming light at the end of the tunnel for Thrive. They might be able to pull this back. It is not over just yet.
It's not over till the last round is won, for sure. Although Fluffy AIMERS are making a pretty good case for that last round coming fairly soon. The floors is being brought out yet again, and it looks like, once again, Thrive don't really have a concrete answer for it. It's destroyed a ton of utility, as well as some breach charges onto those little castle barricades. MQ is going to be in a very aggressive position here that might not be caught out by Fluffy AIMERS, especially since they don't really have emphasis placed on it. Candle, though, is going to take out Deity. That's a phenomenal opening pick to get. But they do know exactly where AIMKey is, and Fluffy AIMERS are going to do everything they can to get this pick back.
Rival pulling on the window on an upside-down rappel, waiting for something to happen. Resided's going to make this now a 4v4. Thrive has to hold on to their man advantage. It's now dropped to an equal one, but still a good hold onto the top floor. JJ down, Diffuser down, 3v4, 3v3. These kills just keep going back and forth. Fluffy find a response every time, continuing to do so. Emilio, though, however, he is being blocked off by these Arunis. Moses finds Rival. Is there going to be a response? Waiting? I don't think so. Maybe not. Fluffy AIMERS now down a man. Double digits on the clock. And then maybe find an opening. It's all down to Resided in a 1v3, but he's walked up these white stairs. He does not have the diffuser. It is on the opposite side of the building, but he might be able to catch this player that's up on top. Does, but only 266 HP. Doesn't get the job done. Now he has to worry about this Aruni gate, but he does have a rotation hole. He's actually just going to go for the hop. Does they hear the sound cue? Yeah, they know exactly where he is. All eyes are turned towards Resided. Does he know where this player is? Now he does. Flash coming through. He's going to make the swing. Grenade as well. Resided throwing all of his utility, trying to get Twist out of position, but still, Twist holds the fort down. He's now prone and has teammates in support. Here comes a swing. He's worried about his other side, but it doesn't matter. Thrive. Fight to play another day. It's now 4-6. Fluffy AIMERS, though, just need that one round.
And they put themselves in a pretty good position by just needing that one round. Thrive are having to fight tooth and nail now that they have this point, and they need to play essentially perfectly for 2 more rounds now, just to guarantee overtime. I'm not sure if we have a limited OT in playoffs, by the way. I would assume that we do, but if we do, if we don't, my producer will yell in my ear. But regardless, Thrive want to guarantee overtime here to have a chance at winning their map pick. It's typically at a best of 3. You want to win your map pick, lose your opponents, and then kind of hash it out on the decider. Or you don't necessarily want to, but it's typically what you expect. So Fluffy AIMERS take Thrive's map pick. That puts them in a phenomenal position going into probably their best map right now, which is Nighthaven Labs. And especially if they do it in regulation, that just really doesn't pose a good position for Thrive to be fighting back from.
Yeah, this is a massive comeback for Thrive to start. You do not want to head down 1-0 into Fluffy AIMERS map pick on Nighthaven. You're going to be seeing a first floor setup from the defense. And it's, I think it's the exact look. I don't know if there's any changes. This looks pretty identical to what we've been seeing so far on the basements, or on the first floor setup. We are going to be seeing a glass being brought out from Resided. They might try to get open that bakery wall, some smokes down, and lay some hellfire coming through. And Resided is on this side of the map. Other than that, though, the operators do look pretty consistent from both sides. Oh, ooh, I don't know if AIMKey knows how close he is to playing with his life. He peeks at door frame. Resided is still waiting. I don't think this player might challenge again. Is there any drone work maybe to help out Resided? So far, brought down to a standstill. If anybody peeks this breach, Resided has the information. He is just, yeah, no, he's going to rotate. He's going to give that one up.
I really like the initial idea there, just like, since it's not applying a ton of pressure to Bakery, they can kind of stick him underneath the doorway and just see if someone overextends just a little bit to get picked off there. And unfortunately for them, it doesn't happen, but it's not really wasted effort anyways. Now they want to dislodge these players that are over by this VIP side, which the glass is going to be very helpful with. You're going to see Skunky trying to play over here. Moses, though, is going to get the opening pick onto JJ. Twist as well, going to find one of his own. And that's Thrive putting themselves up at the beginning of this round.
What's that in the air? It's a comeback that's in the air. Thrive are up man advantage in round 11 to try and bring this one to 5-6. Fluffy AIMERS slipping their grip, loosening. The sweat pouring down Fluffy AIMERS. Now 5v3. Emilio, Rival, Recited. And potentially try to put this one away. But they've got one heck of a mountain to climb. And now a minute 10 on the clock. Candle is still a player that you have to dislodge. And he's got the goggles. Continue to stay up on the Warden. It looks like things are going to slow down for Fluffy. They're trying to bait, but this isn't ranked, buddy. Nobody's going to really sell to go for the kills. They are playing to win. Thrive. They're standstill, waiting for somebody to push from Fluffy.
Remaining stalwart in their positions. They want to try to get this player outside of Bakery. They want to kill Aim Key, as that's kind of the easiest early 1v1 they can get. He's going to remain solid in this position, however, until Rival walks in on him. With only 30 seconds left, things are a little bit easier, but still so far away.
All right, Fluffy, what do you got in the tank? It's a 4v2. Rival and Emilio left. The glass is down. Rival swings the door, but not going to happen. Moses shuts it down. Does another one. Finds Emilio and Rival. 6-5. Comeback on. Right, they've done all this work. It would be heartbreak to not see this one go to overtime.
I think that's 2 3Ks for Moses in a row there. Really impressive stuff from him, kind of playing those very anchor-heavy roles. We're going to see Cocktail and Bar come out here. 3F, third floor site. For Thrive to finally see if their work can pay off and if they can go to overtime here. Although JJ is going to be cooking up something to prevent it, if at all possible. This is, I mean, in theory, going to be one of the more entertaining rounds just with how much rides on it from what we've seen so far this game. And that ability to just work the picks they need that Thrive have been getting in these last couple rounds is really going to be tested here.
Thrive on the top floor defense to potentially send this one to overtime. Will Fluffy AIMERS lead crumble? I believe it was 6-3 was the biggest. Yeah, 6-3 was our biggest lead for Fluffy. Now it has dissipated to just one round advantage. Thrive, they haven't had a single lead this whole entire game. They had, I think, maybe one round where they were tied. I think it was tied at 1-1. Other than that, Fluffy AIMERS has been in control of this whole series. Now an opportunity to send this one to overtime to Twist. As this window open, he might go for a very aggressive jump out the window. What do you see? Any enemies? Not going to happen. But opening kill does go to Thrive nonetheless. That's Ace that's down as well, so your hard breach is gone early into this one with still 2:30 on the clock.
Yeah, they started to shut down some of the hot guns that Fluffy AIMERS had in these past couple rounds, and it's been working wonders for them. Some of the people like Didi can kind of be 3 rounds into themselves, but Rival and Recited are usually a large part of that as well, and they haven't really been able to show off these last couple rounds. And it's been creating a lot of space for players on Thrive, like Candle, or not Candle, Skunky. Like Skunky, who demonstrates shots now. Skunky with 2 beautiful shots with the SMG-11. Take the words out of my mouth. He's almost going to get killed off here, and Deity does get it. But it's so far gone now, 4 versus 2.
Minute 15 o'clock. There's a lot of time for Fluffy to maybe try something. But what can you try? You've lost your hard breach. You've got a Twitch and an Nomad. That's the last players remaining up in this one. DD, JJ. If JJ wins this, it would be a hype room over in the Fluffy camp. Here we go. Hatch drop. Is there a way Fluffy can make the clutch? Or it looks like an inevitable overtime on the cards. DD has droned at that player on the shield. Looks like he's going to go mano-y-mano. Here comes the Twitch. So maybe make sure that this player is there. Does Inky know that he has a drone on him? 1 minute 10 on the clock. Fluffy AIMERS, they had a lot of time. Not so much anymore. It's been eaten up as we're about to enter double digits on the clock. JJ walks up white stairs. 1v1. Not going to happen. All down to Deity. He is going to make this a 1v3 on for the ace. If he makes the clutch, this would be one hell of a super solo play. Not going to happen. Overtime. Here we go. Thrive. They brought it from 6-3 Remember, folks, they called themselves the Kings of Cafe. Are they going to show it once again in this epic comeback?
Now they have an opportunity to prove they're the Kings of Cafe, and they can continue preserving this defensive momentum because they are on the defense in this overtime. That's the side choice they selected. And now we're going to go back down to Kitchen with, I believe, the exact same setup that we had before. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? That's how the motto goes. But as time goes on, Fluffy AIMERS do also have an opportunity to adapt to what is happening. Some beautiful shots from Skunky, by the way. And I want to see some of these guns from Fluffy AIMERS that we'd normally see come online again, as I think that's a lot of what's going wrong here, is that, I mean, these fights just aren't going their way, and they kind of need to for the system that Fluffy AIMERS has. But people like Rival and Recited and Deity, down to a little bit of a lesser extent, have been shut down thoroughly these last few rounds. And it's just been too much pressure with the gunpowder that's been coming out from Thrive.
Moses at 12 and 6, and you talked about you want to see some of that firepower. I mean, Fluffy, I think every single player is negative. Recited's at an even 50, but yeah, the guns are kind of quiet for Fluffy AIMERS, and this could be a Thrive victory. They are going to get the defense on top of that. Basement is where we go. We've seen this operator selection, but what is the adjustment that Fluffy AIMERS are going to bring? Well, there's no glass this time around. It looks like they're going to go for the vertical play with that ram. They also got a Dokkaebi to try and dislodge anybody just by mere sound. Fluffy AIMERS, they had the 6-3 lead. It's now 6-6 overtime. Shield gone. And that's a big thing, actually, to get rid of, because Candle was a huge problem last time around. Fluffy AIMERS, what adjustments can they make? All to play for. Overtime, we go.
We're going to see the Ram come out in conjunction with a Dokkaebi call, which is going to allow for that play to be made onto Twist. You don't often see grenade kills anymore, but they are quite something when they happen. And that sound to cover up that play is exactly the kind of coordination that's allowed Fluffy AIMERS to get to this point in the first place. They need to continue it forwards, though, and they need to continue dislodging these defenders. Candle still remains stalwart in his position. There's still a player inside of the coat closet as well, so there's work to be done.
ED has died every round but one, but he has, sure enough, made someone come down with him as well. Can he go even more massive with his 11 kills already? 5v4 in favor of Fluffy AIMERS. Here comes the ram. Here comes the work. Anybody out below? Yoo-hoo! Beak summer blowout. Anybody home? Knocking on the door is Recited. Not able to find anybody. Moses, he is cowering behind the bomb site. He knows he is just a mere moment away from getting found out, but still, Fluffy AIMERS not able to find him. JJ now using his breaching charge. Is anybody there? Is anyone in sight? Enki, I mean, he's been sitting at bakery just waiting and waiting. Is he the Muffin Man? Question mark. A minute now on the clock. Fluffy AIMERS, you've got the man advantage, but are you going to do anything with it? Nothing's coming from the vertical play. Recited going back to the well. We saw him on the glass. This time around on the ram, and it looks like they're going to readjust for a bakery push. They've still got some time to work with. 50 seconds on the clock. So you got to get going. JJ is the man from upstairs. Oh, but Deity has fallen. It's now 4v3. 4v3 Thrive. What is going on? Fluffy AIMERS now. They're going to pull this one back. JJ from above is going to get something from the vertical play, but he's going to come down the stairs. He has the diffuser in hand. Here comes El Capitano. 30 seconds. This is a massive round if Fluffy AIMERS can win it, because defense has been king so far. But the kings of this map is Thrive. 3v3. Moses, Chow's one. See you later. That's one. Does he have the other in his sights? He is going to fall, so it's still 2v2. Emilio and JJ left the clutch. Now all down to Emilio, and they know where he is. Skunky, Candle. Can they sniff him out for first map of overtime?
10 seconds left.
Emilio walking up hallway. He's got Malusi's giving his position away, but Skunky, he pulls the trigger just a little bit late. Emilio is just going to bypass him and say, see ya, but the time is going to be too big of a factor. Thrive take their first lead in the map. And it all comes down now to pressure on to Fluffy AIMERS. And I go back to that timeout when they were at, was it 2-5, I think? What a timeout. And since then, we have seen a different Thrive.
I think it is worth noting, speaking of that timeout, that Fluffy AIMERS recently just announced a new coach, right? And if you know anything about how kind of teams work, he's been there for a little bit, just kind of as a trial, but it is official now, and he's called the tactical timeout, so he's seen something in the Fluffy AIMERS system that's breaking down that he wants to try to amend here, as they are on map point here, or Thrive are on map point now, whereas Fluffy AIMERS held it for so long. And now that they have the defense, they want to not only close out this defense and tie things up, but be prepared for the next round and anything else that might happen in OT.
Timeout, Fluffy AIMERS. Well, like I mentioned, once we saw Thrive do their timeout, they came out a different team out of it. Are we going to see something similar for Fluffy AIMERS as they are now going to be the ones on defense? And defense so far has been the favorite side. We saw a 4-2 split for both of these guys on their respective halves for the defense. And it is looking the favor Thrive on this defense. Fluffy AIMERS show a little bit of that magic that they showed against those teams on wildcard weekend. Looking at these teams, we've got Skunky on a blitz. So when we did see the blitz being brought out, that is when they found those lone rounds. So Thrive, they might be able to find something, but you do have to figure out what site they're playing. It is going to be first floor site for Fluffy AIMERS. And we are going to be seeing the clash once again from JJ. So we did see this look with the Goyo, the Smoke, the Echo. And it did get him around when it came down to a 1v1. And JJ said death by electrocution. Jamie Foxx style. Are we going to see a little bit of that taking place again? Amaru being brought out for Twist, trying to maybe get into the building just a little bit quicker. Nope, as I say that, maybe stolen away.
Caster's Curse strikes again. I can confirm, by the way, that there is no infinite OT until the grand finals. So that actually puts Thrive in an even better position, as OT has to end after 3 rounds, and they just have match point for the next 2 rounds. So regardless whether or not they win this one, they have a chance to win the next one definitively, right? At that last round, the game is going to end, and Thrive put themselves in a solid position for it. Both teams have had an opportunity now to talk to their coaches as well and get everything in order. So we'll see how that pans out here. We'll see if, like you said, Fluffy AIMERS are able to work a little bit of that Thrive magic and be a new-look team after their coaches had a chance to get involved.
Yeah, this would be some early kind of proof of what the coach has been doing. He said, I saw JJ tweet out that they had some work with him in the wildcard weekend, and he was a big factor on their success going to the final. And I'm wondering if he's going to come into factor in this series. Round point Thrive. Fluffy AIMERS now on the defense, though. And you can see that wall being open. JJ's giving the call out, like, hey, it looks like there's a party going on over here. And is JJ going to be a factor on that shield? His Monty did get banned. He usually turns up on Monty, but his operator has been stolen away. Now, minute 50 on the clock. Fluffy AIMERS, I think they've done pretty well to kind of deny Thrive any sort of space. I haven't seen too much progress.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work like outside of the map, trying to just like get rid of some utility and things like that. And then we do see some work being done on the floor above the site with Enki on that buck. But Resided, along with help from JJ, is going to get that opener onto Skunky. Moses is downed as well, and then finished off. Candle gets 1 back, and 2 back as well. Puts us into a 3 versus 3. We'll have to see how things pan out from here. They exchange some more words, but ultimately no one really wins that argument. But Aimkey gets shouted down off screen.
3v2, Fluffy AIMERS in control, but the Candle is still alive. And he has been throwing, so is Twist at 12 and 9. Here we go, Fluffy AIMERS, they need this round, 50 seconds on the clock. JJ is still alive on that clash, and he was the factor last time around when we saw this scenario. But the bomb is down, and I believe Fluffy AIMERS is aware of it, so they're just playing towards bomb. So the game is completely flipped. It's no longer about sight. It's about who can get control of the diffuser. Deity finds a kill. JJ is going to give the information out where Candle is. There's a ying for you. There's a smoke for you. Here comes the swing, but he's got so much work to do. He's going to use these 81 bullets in the chamber to maybe to his benefit. He's going to walk through the smoke, but he's still getting tagged up by JJ. JJ, stop it. He's going to find 1 kill on the side of it. He's kind of just ignoring JJ. He's like, you know what? I see there. There's a smack. Does he get the shots? Toes are going to go. The nails are gone on JJ's feet. He's down to 23 HP, almost a whole foot entirely. The Candle, he has low HP as well. JJ's not. It's a 1v1 temporarily. Resided wins! And it heads to max overtime. Defense for Thrive. And what is going to be a nail-biting series. Remember, folks, this is a best of 3. We are in for the long haul.
I just know somewhere in the world Ace is excited now. Right? We're going all the way. It's what that man loves to see. Just like I like to see a well-constructed defense immediately after a tactical timeout. Pans out a little bit differently than previous, but that clash on Kitchen, it just exerts so much pressure when there's little time left, and especially when there's little man count left for the attack. We see Kendall there just trying to get something, anything, but that clash denies so much space. Especially with how aggressively JJ played her, he just couldn't get a break at any point. And he does get a kill and a half by killing off Deity and getting a down onto JJ. But by that point, there's 3 seconds left. What is he going to do? And now, max overtime is where we find ourselves, as mining and dining is going to be the final battleground of map 1.
Here we go. Thrive. It would be heartbreaking for them to do all this work for Fluffy Aimers to win it at the death. Fluffy or Thrive have only had that one lead, that 7-6. Other than that, Fluffy Aimers have been in complete control of this series. You're gonna see nothing too crazy. I think this is our first Lion, if I'm not mistaken, coming in from Fluffy Aimers now that we're in round 15. A lot of like roam clear with the Lion and the Dokkaebi coming in from Fluffy. They might be able to try and find anybody that's lurking on the top 4 potentially. But Thrive in a good position on the defense. We had 4-2 splits for both of these sides on their defense. Is it gonna give way of Thrive? Fluffy find a way to do it.
We did see a lot of early success in Fluffy Aimers attacks, and so they got that 6-3 lead. And if they can kind of rejuvenate that a little bit, especially with that tactical timeout we saw being called in round 14, then they are in a good position to win this. But Thrive are comfortable on defense. They've won almost all of them. And by this point, they kind of know how Fluffy Aimers are going to attack. And just like Fluffy Aimers in that previous tactical timeout, they had an opportunity to talk to their coach as well, or amongst themselves if they don't have a coach. So going into this, both teams, they're going to be feeling pretty good here. It's just kind of a matter of who's feeling better and who's able to play better off of that feeling.
Minute 40 on the clock. Skunky down. Man advantage, Fluffy Aimers. Can they push off of this? No trades are coming in through at the moment, but Aimkey's also knocked. So temporarily, it's going to be a 3v5. Can Fluffy Aimers maybe punch onto this one? Can they get control of the vertical play? A res will come through, but 20 HP for Aimkey. Hold on a second. Here comes the final line scan coming in from Fluffy Aimers. Not going to catch anybody out. You do have one more Dokkaebi call, maybe, but that's pretty much it in terms of maybe finding anybody. You've got your Grims, no more A, so a lot of util has been used by Fluffy Aimers. They still got to get downstairs. Oh, 1v1, Rival wins it. Rival, he might be able to get onto this other player as well. Candle, swinging. He's going to get dropped down to 86 HP. Rival on 10. Diffuser's going down. JJ's planting 4v2. Fluffy Aimers, surely they've done it. They've snapped the hope and dreams of Thrive. It's a 2v1. It's Fluffy Aimers. JJ with the final kill. They take the map. And the Kings of Cafe have fallen. They've been dethroned. Fluffy Aimers starting off strong. And it got scary. They had that 5-2, 6-3 lead. But Thrive, despite their best efforts, are going to fall. We head the map to Nighthaven. Fluffy Aimers map pick as well. Advantage to the Fluff Kings.
Kings of Cafe have been dethroned. And now we see if... I mean, Thrive, their best hope in this series is to see if they can beat Fluffy Aimers on their best map. You know, no pressure at all.
Yeah, no pressure.
In all seriousness, though, very well played to Thrive. Even though they did lose that, they kept it close the entire time. That wasn't a victory that Fluff Aimers was able to get easily. They had to work overtime for it the entire time. But obviously, even more well played to Fluff Aimers because they did win.
Yeah, congratulations, Fluffy Aimers. You had to game that one out. In the timeouts, I think the timeouts is where you really look at this. That's where the turning points were. We had a 5-2. So we had a 4-2 defense split, and then Fluffy Aimers, they came out, won their first attack, and it looked like, hey, they're going to run away with this. A timeout came through. We only saw one round after that from Fluffy until overtime. And then it was the timeout that came through for Fluffy Aimers and their new coach, and they were able to work things through, clutch up in the overtime. So far, these timeouts, I mean, perfectly used for both of these teams, and I think you can point at that as the big turning point for Cafe. But now as we head to Nighthaven, we talk about it, Fluffy Aimers, they look freaking good on this map. And I mean, if you're beating Thrive on Cafe, is there hope? Is there maybe some sort of I don't take away you can do. I mean, momentum and the favor is with Fluffy Aimers, but it would be crazy Xenon stuff to just see at map 3 and Thrive take this one somehow.
I've seen crazier things in previous months in my life, so it is always possible. And I mean, it's playoffs. Anything can really happen. That being said, though, we're going to send things over to a little bit of a break just to kind of get stuff ready before the next map. So make sure, get up, grab some water, but be right back because we're going to be back with Nighthaven Labs in just a sec.
Folks, we are back. Fluffy Aimers just got it done in max OT in round 15, and we're taking a look at a little bit of this action coming through. Remember, it was a 5-2 lead for Fluffy, and then Thrive did all that work just to lose it at death. And I think we have to talk about the coaches that came through. And in Fluffy Aimers, they got a new one, and I wanted to get his name. I just didn't have it on me. Archer coming in, and he called the timeout, and it came up clutch in that overtime. So we're starting to see a little bit of the mind games and some of the mentality that goes into at this high level in T2. But Fluffy Aimers currently on top, despite Thrive in their great start, finishing 5-1 in the group stage. Cafe is dethroned. Fluffy takes it, and now we head to Nighthaven. Boy, oh boy, I'm curious for you, Ali. Who was the standout player as we're kind of looking at some of these replays?
Honestly, I would give it to Deity. I think it was like perfectly even by the time that game ended, but that man was putting in work whenever Fluffy Aimers were kind of doing their thing there. And then on the opposite side of the coin, you have Moses as well, who kind of turned up in the latter half of that game, was a lot of the reason that Thrive had the success they did, going 14-9, at one point getting 2 3Ks back-to-back, securing his team really, really crucial round wins.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the kills were roughly in favor of Thrive despite the loss. It seemed like the slaying was going their way. I mean, there's 3 players positive. Candle was just one off of going 50. But yeah, and on the other side, when we're looking at Fluffy Aimers, I don't think the slaying was there as strong. But more importantly, they were able to get it when it mattered. They were able to clean up those rounds. We saw some doubles. Again, I think Deity was kind of spearheading that type of stuff. But really, we did see some individual plays. But now we had the Fluffy Aimers map pick. We're going to Nighthaven Labs. I don't know. I mean, I've seen crazier stuff in Xenon. This is still up in the air for Thrive, but the momentum's going their way. They've got the map, they've got the coach, and I think you're seeing a different form of Fluffy Aimers than what we saw in the regular season from them. So all the play for these guys, and they're lighting it up.
So I don't want to count Thrive out, right? But I do have to say, I think I'd be a little bit more scared of Luminosity on Nighthaven than I would Thrive, and they beat Luminosity fairly convincingly, and that puts them in a pretty good spot here, if only just because Fluffy Aimers are going to be so confident going into this second map. They took down Thrive on their best map so far, which is Cafe, and now they're going to Nighthaven Labs, which is their own best map. After having beaten a Pro League team on it, they're going to be feeling really good about this one.
And they beat LG 7-1, winning 6 defenses and an offense. So Fluffy Aimers' defense is perfect, considering that series. There's some scares for me, and they ended up also losing that they then played Cafe and lost in what we said was that insane max OT where we went 12-10. Not max OT, but I don't know how to what's it called? Unlimited infinite OT. 22 round OT. Yeah, it ended up barely going the way of LG. And we're gonna be taking a look at the bans. Wait, did they miss a ban?
I suspect that was probably intentional.
I've never seen that.
Aimers,
I've been casting this whole summer. I've never seen a no ban.
Neither have I, and I've been casting for the better part of 3 years now. So.
Somewhat not locked in. What do they? The chat's too small for me to see. It's just a little too small. I can't really see it.
Unfortunately, I'm not wearing my glasses since they reflect really badly on camera, so I can't see it either. Although I suspect that it is probably intentional since they do start on the attack, and this isn't they're not a team. I mean, it's not like the main season, right? We could see they're not locked in. They themselves have said they're going to be locked in for playoffs. They want to win. They want to go to the finals. This was probably intentional. Why it happened, what exactly the decision making was, is a potential interview question for JJ if he does end up winning out this series. But for now, all I can really do is, say what I've said before.
Can we just chalk it up as somebody wasn't watching? They were tuning into Jinxie's stream. I don't know. They just weren't locked in. Somebody was just not looking for the map bands, or not the map bands, the operator bands. I don't know. That is crazy. I'm curious what they were saying. Our observer has the the chat, not the Twitch chat, the in-game chat like really small. I was like squinting, bro, and it was just like a little blurry. Like I was like trying to like read the words and then they disappear. I don't know, but I'm curious now. Like we're going into this timeout, I'm wondering if there was like some sort of issue and if we have to restart. That's where my brain's going. It's like, hey, we weren't ready or something like that. And now that's what's going through my brain at least.
So we'll see. But fun little anecdote for everyone, just since we're to pause. Just still to do with bands, but not quite the same bands. In a season of TPL where I was actually a player and I played in quals. Also the qual war made closed. I was watching a stream of like another team after we had just gotten like a 7-1 or something, and they lost really convincingly. That was a team that we had just 7-1'd, right? Absolute terrible loss. And since the team was streaming on a delay, I just went and looked, and then I just heard somebody yell, "Why did you take them to the cafe?" And the team captain said, "Sorry, I was taking a crap during map bans." It was it's very funny.
Yeah, that's what JJ was doing
story.
during the operating bans. He's like, "Oh, I wasn't locked in," and they were like, "What do we do without King JJ? JJ, who do we ban?" I don't know. Was it even Fluffy? Yeah, it was Fluffy who didn't ban.
Mm-hmm. It was.
I don't know. Did we not see Monty banned as well? I don't think we saw Monty.
We did see Monty banned.
It was okay. I didn't catch that. I was not locked in. So, okay, so Monty was banned at least, and that consistent from what we saw from the last series. I don't even remember the other two operators that were selected. I'm not sure what the
Falcon Tubero.
I don't know. I'm getting kind of not given information. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm really curious. I really do think it's. Oh, someone just said something in my ear, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
One player crashed, is what was said.
Oh, crash. I'm curious if they were like, if somebody crashed during those bans, if we're gonna redo those bans, or if it's just gonna roll through. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen in the competitive scene a no ban. I don't know if somebody in chat, if somebody in chat has seen it, type down. I really want to know if you've seen it. But it looks like we're back, and yeah, we're rolling with those bans. Fluffy Aimers, they're gonna have that one more operator to select from on their attack, and this is another map where defense is heavily favored. As we're starting to kind of figure out this summer what Nighthaven looks like in the competitive scene. We're going to be beginning with Thrive on the defense, Fluffy Aimers on the attack. You're going to be seeing a Bosch G Vigil, which is just a completely different tempo than what we were seeing in that previous map. But all the work to go towards Thrive after Fluffy Aimers got it down in round 15 on Cafe. Can something happen? Any magic from Thrive to send this one to our decider? Or will it be Fluffy Aimers in 2?
So I do think that the fact that even though Thrive didn't win, just the fact they were able to get them to overtime is a very good thing, as it shows them that gods can bleed, essentially. It shows them that Fluffy Aimers is entirely mortal. And so they're going to be going into this, I mean, hopefully for them, with their heads held high. Right? This is a very good map for Fluffy Aimers, but they can absolutely still lose it. And that's going to be what Thrive are going to be banking on here, is just the fact that they've seen how mortal Fluffy Aimers is and they can be countered.
Yeah, so it looks like that no ban is going to be the final say. We did offer them a rehost, but they're not going to let to use it. It's a no ban. Because the crash did happen during the bans, apparently. So it's going to be a no ban coming through. The bandit trick also coming in from Moses. BD is just kind of patiently waiting. Here comes one EMP. Is he going to get it in time? I don't know if Moses got it. Yeah, he got it. So it's not going to be great bandit trick there. So that's one of the no more thermites, actually. Deity, it's going to be a secure onto the wall. On the other side, it looks like the ace is going to open up. But, I mean, a big play. It's not going to show in the kill feed, but Moses gets it done on the wall.
So far, the MVP of this round for me, though, I do have to question, Deity, why Fluffy Aimers didn't go down below to clear that bandit out, and he gets a refrag and then some, taking down 2 players, but Rival just walks in. It's calamity on the site. Everyone is falling, and it eventually lands on a 2 versus 2.
A temporary 2v2. Can they maybe get to Rival? I don't think that's going to be a factor so much. It's going to be shut down. Candle goes for the player that's knocked, and it's going to end up costing him. JJ, 1v1 with Skunky. This would be one for the head to tell. JJ, 8 HP. And he clutch up. Sight is in favor. He also has a diffuser, so there can be some mind games, and it's going to happen right now. He opts on the diffuse, baits Skunky into it. But Skunky's going to hold his position. There's still, a freaking minute left. We could see a huge standoff coming to this one, but no. JJ's going to get aggressive.
Oh, JJ!
8 HP, but it doesn't matter when you got aim like that. The captain steps up and says, see you later. Round 1, Fluffy AIMERS on the attack. This is their map. Put them in the next round of the semifinals. JJ, massive 1v1.
Oh my
Wow, that was what a way to start.
I could kind of hear like the Jaws theme song with the da-na. It's just creeping in the back of my mind as JJ creeps up to the angle, but he ends up winning it, becoming the shark, clutching out that round for his team. In a round that really should have been pretty unwinnable from the beginning, just with the utility usage that Thrive were bringing to the table. But it all ends up being for naught.
Yeah, the bandit trick was in from Moses, and then Deity just says, you know what, I don't have any more thermite charges, but I sure do have my gun. He gets to pick a connector on the window, and then I don't even know what happened from then on. Just kills kind of came in, and then all of a sudden it's a 1v1. And I thought it was silly of JJ to challenge that at 8 HP. I'm like, yo, I mean, I would try to get him to come to you. But he I mean, what a win on that one. I mean, because if let's say he does some body shots, it probably gives him enough time to react and get just that one shot he needs, but you hit the money shot, headshot immediately. Big round for Fluffy AIMERS, and now we're going to be heading to the basement. Can they continue their offensive dominance? And I talked about this is the defensive favored map, so Fluffy starting off hot, I mean, it puts the pressure on Thrive.
I've always said the best decision in this game is the one you make with confidence, and for JJ, that's to swing into what is a pretty disadvantageous gunfight, but one he wins nonetheless. Twist is going to be aggressive early on here, but so far, nothing's going to come of it. See, AMK on the top floor playing as Vigil as well. You don't often see him, and you especially don't often see Vigil without the boss G. It's going to allow him to hide from a little bit of droning here, though, although I believe he can still be called by Dokkaebi, but he can't evade Lion. So his job here is going to just kind of be to be squirrely and just make the attack paranoid of his existence.
First Dokkaebi coming in from Deity, and Rival's going to find Skunky. Aim key isn't at the boss G this time around, but he is moving on the floor. Whoa, diffuser going down. JJ is planting. We just hit the 150 mark. Is it going to happen? No, Twist is going to find him. He got off the plant and he fell. It's now a 3v3. Even advantage. Diffuser is down somewhere in sight. It's now recited in Rival. Here comes a lion scan. That's going to give some information away. And Rival pounces onto that one. Now at 4-1, this dude is on a hot streak. Recited might be able to use these footholds to his advantage, or it's going to be used against him. He's going to get this kill. Now it's right back to Fluffy AIMERS, 2v1. The clock caliber is favoring Fluffy AIMERS. They've got some time to work with. Candle's going to drop the hatch, elect not to play the vertical. Wow, Fluffy AIMERS, 2 in a row. This is just their map. I mean, you've got to keep, dude, you have to keep it in your mind. They won flipping 6 defensive rounds against Luminosity Gaming. Yeah, and if that's anything to go by, they've got more than enough offensive rounds. I mean, Thrive, this is now just 2 rounds in. For me, this is a freaking uphill battle. And Fluffy AIMERS, they're coming out hot. They're swinging early. They're bringing the flipping guns. I mean, I'm shocked. This is a class act from Fluffy AIMERS right now.
Yeah, it's been really, really good from them so far. Even in that really awkward position that Recited and Rival find themselves in, they just know how to work the angles on the map so well. And in that 2v1, they baited Candle absolutely perfectly, so when he comes down, it's just not a good fight for him to take. And now we see Thrive attempt this bomb site yet again. They're going to be much more vigilant this time, as they know that JJ is both willing to get into the site early on to just get the plant down, and also knowledgeable on how to actually make that happen. And they're going to have to play with that in the back of their mind. The Fluffy AIMERS aren't afraid to open up a can of Bruce Lee and just absolutely go for it.
What are we going to see in terms of adjustments from Thrive? They need to make these adjustments now. I mean, a 3-0 offensive start would be so detrimental to your chances of winning this. It looks like we're going to have Moses get on a bandit trick. I don't know if he got it. I think he got it. That one looked clean. It looked like... How do you say it? Is it AIMERS? I always forget that room name. The
AIMERS?
Yeah, thank you. Jeez. I was right. I was just not confident in myself.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but... Oh.
Yeah, which, by the way, the lore implications of that are really funny because Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs are canonically in the same universe. And I think that...
Really?
Does that mean that Assassin's Creed is in the Rainbow universe?
Wait, bro. I might have to search the Ubisoft lore
Could
up.
Sam Fisher be part of the Knights Templar? Doesn't really matter for now as there's a blitz in sight going in, but he
Wait,
gets
what?
killed off early. Skunky with the knife, Candle with the re as well. And Fluffy Aimers are on the back foot.
I was trying to like decipher that Ubisoft lore, and then Resida just said "man down, run it down," and it was just charging at his opponent. But it looks like Thrive are in a great position to maybe just bounce back from this one. It's a 3v5 in favor of Thrive. Rival, however, is going to start chopping at that aim key, not aware at all to where Rival was. Minute 30, Diffuser is somewhere on the floor, so you got to go and pick it up. I don't know if Thrive are playing for it. We are yet to see a Deimos call come through. Oh, I would not challenge that deity. If he stands up, he might get shut down. Yep, and that's exactly what happened. Skunky gets the shot. But still, Fluffy Aimers are within reach. They are in a 3v2. We're about to approach the minute mark. But, I mean, dude, that just kind of happened in the blink of an eye. Fluffy Aimers, they got to find a way back in.
We haven't seen them win something like this before. It was Rival and Resided last time, granted, but Emilio's no slouch either. Rival is 7-1
Here comes
right
a hack.
now as well. He's going to be feeling confident going into these last few picks, especially since they can get control of the diffuser. So if they manage to get onto the site, they are able to plant here, and with that aforementioned hack, they do have a lot of the information the defense possessed.
Yeah, so they got cameras, they've got the diffuser, so they're working this way back in, but 40 seconds, you kind of got to get going. No more Dokkaebi calls as well. Emilio is going to start flying on through with the SMG in hand. Rival, they've got site control, but Emilio down, and it's going to go Thrive's way. So a massive bounce back round after some early chaos. I'm not sure who had that cover fire onto that blitz, but whoever did probably saved them the round through and through.
So now we see Thrive have as many defensive rounds as Luminosity did against Fluffy Aimers previously. So congratulations, you're on par with LG at this point. Yeah, I mean, I do think that, like, the blitz idea wasn't a bad one necessarily, but I don't think they really had proper information on how aggressive that setup was from Thrive. Because there was more there than I think they're really prepared for with that push in, which is why... I mean, we saw the Blitz die for one, and then JJ died trying to get the refrag on top of it. And this time, Fluffy Aimers just weren't able to climb the mountain that Thrive had left before them. They did start to get to it, but it just didn't end up being enough in the end.
Okay, so Twist is now my favorite player on Thrive because he brings the Boss G, but AimKey doesn't when he is on Vigil. So thank you, Twist. I'm glad somebody has a brain. dude, on controller, bro, on console, the Boss G goes insane. The body shot warrior, they call me in silver. But anyways, Fluffy Aimers on the attack. They got it down last time, but I mean, it was a very nervy one at that. JJ won it on 8 HP and on 1v1 with plenty of time on the clock. And it looks like a similar setup, if I'm not mistaken, from Thrive. I don't know if they had the cap. I don't even remember first round. I just know it went Fluffy Aimers' way. But there's no bandit, which is the big thing. The deity is going to have a lot easier time getting those walls open.
I think the reason they didn't bring the bandit this time was that they just... I mean, the prediction is that Fluffy Aimers are going to have something to counter it. They don't counter the Boss G, however, as JJ ends up dying. That's half your hard breach operators off of the board, which means Deity is going to have to work overtime here. There is no bandit, like you said, which means he can do that fairly easily. But it is going to mean that they have to sacrifice something they want to get open here. They can either open up this connector wall or IT. They can't have both.
Oh, Moses is just... I thought he was going to make a play. Yeah, but whilst he was holding the C4, the Twitch came through, opened up that mirror. So some good work coming in from Emilio, although he is 0-3 right now. Moses throws the C4 because he had to move away. The Grim canister just came through, and now Recited has worked his way in. It looks like they're going to use that last hard breach from Deity on the wall with that mirror. But this connector fight, Twist, bro, the Boss G. I said it, man. The body shot warrior that you can be with that Boss G. Twist is taking that one to heart. However, AimKey will fall. Rival with the kill, 3v4. Yeah, make that now a 4v2. Twist now using his SMG to get into the action. So this should be a Thrive win to tie this one up after it got very sketchy with those opening 2-round wins from Fluffy Aimers. Their Rival, you might have something to say about that. Minute left. Candle holding it. Who's going to budge first is the question. Does Candle know that he has Rival here? I'm not sure if he knows. There's no sound cues, nothing. Everyone is at a standstill. You don't need to move if you're Skunky. He does anyway.
Oh.
He gets the headshot. Rival down. 3 HP for Kendall as well. You would have had just that little bit less health. On a 1 armor, he would have been gonzo. Emilio is going to fall. Twist. 4 kills? Yeah. Almost had the ace, but 3 kills with the Bosch G. He used his SMG as well. Big round from the Vigil. Thrive got to tie this one up.
I like Thrive have learned here that you can't let Fluffy AIMERS set up the pace. That's a lot of what we've been seeing here is Fluffy AIMERS, even when it hasn't worked necessarily, they've been the ones making stuff happen. They've been in control for most of this map. In this round, Twist decides to wrestle that away and just be aggressive and make them uncomfortable, no matter where they opt to go. And that's a lot of what we see working out that last round. They weren't able to get the things they wanted because of the fact that Twist was doing the things he was doing. And now Thrive need to continue setting that pace in order to have a chance at this map, right? Because things are tied up here. But this is, we're still seeing glimpses of what makes Fluffy AIMERS great at this map, even when they are losing. And it's really probably only a matter of time before they start to figure out how to counter it. And even if Thrive do win these next 2 rounds, they still have to go up against a mean Fluffy AIMERS defense.
Yeah, now we're going the first floor. This should be a round that Fluffy AIMERS probably statistically thinking is going to be the best in their favor. There's basement, second floor. That's usually the favorite sites to defend from. So maybe an opportunity for Fluffy to add on to their advantage and retake their advantage, I guess I should be saying. It's 3-2. Emilio, though, he's been quiet. 0-4. Hasn't really found his way. Rival, though, dude, I don't know if you noticed, 8 kills. Twist got those 4 in the last one, but he still hasn't caught up to Rival. This dude has been pulling a lot of the weight. And outside of JJ's clutch, really, there hasn't been too much highlights coming in from Fluffy AIMERS on the kill side. Anki trying to bandit trick, does so again. He is on job today, and he's going to get another successful bandit trick. Deity is just having a rough day on that wall.
Yeah, and it's hard to go like down below and make the bandit tricking stop on this site. Just because,
I was about to bring that
is
up.
the site, so you can't just send a buck below or something. And even getting an ash below to just breach charge, it's a little bit harder since it can be shot from the window. And MK is pretty immediately going to relocate some of its charges and just put them in more advantageous positions, so the attack has to work for a little bit more. Recited is in a pretty good position here if he's able to catch someone off guard, and it looks like JJ might be rotating down to help him a bit. There is some vertical play on this doorway, however, so the attack can't just walk in here and be free. That call, though, from Deimos can help a little bit, though.
There's no EMPs as well, so they're not going to get too much out of their hard breaches if anything is bandited or muted. But look at this vertical play coming through. They're trying to use all of their utility to try and flush anyone out, but Skunky, C4, Giddy, however, he's going to start to awaken with a double. Rival's going to get in the mix as well. I mean, the kills are just happening every which way. Rival now with 10 kills to his name. Skunky, he's going to get the knock. It's a 1v2. They know his location. Rival has 4 HP to his name, but Emilio, he's got everything. And you checked the wrong corner. Emilio waiting for his kill. He's going to grab it. Round win for Fluffy AIMERS. And as we approach halftime, one more round for Thrive, but I mean, worst case scenario, we're looking at 3-3 for Fluffy AIMERS. If it's 4-2 heading into defense, I don't see a way Thrive get into this. Thrive have to win this round.
We've seen how scary Fluff AIMERS can be on defense on this map. We've talked about it endlessly, and Thrive are going to be perfectly aware of that. They're going to go back down to the basement, which was the first site they managed to win. But Fluffy AIMERS, they've regained a little bit of their rhythm. They went back to their old playstyle of setting up the dominoes before making everything fall, and it worked so well for them last time. Could only imagine we're going to see the same thing here. We see the same defense being set up by Thrive that we saw previously, which can work, but Fluffy AIMERS, they've had a chance to see this before.
Did Twist bring the Mozzie? I can't remember.
I don't think he did, actually, now that I think about it.
It might be, yeah, I mean, AMK was on Vigil. I can't remember, bro. That was too far. That was too far in the past. Was that the round where the Blitz got absolutely hornswoggled when he was trying to get that one kill?
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who was playing what. I mean, the Blitz is not going to be this time around for Fluffy AIMERS. They've got a Maverick as well to make sure, because they've been having problems with this. Whoa, somebody's right there. That got a little scary. Yeah, I mean, they've been having problems with Moses bandit tricking. I think Inky might have, someone else I think was also
Yeah,
bandit
MP
tricking.
also bandit tricked.
Yeah, I mean, whoever it has been for Thrive, that has been the problem for Fluffy. But this time around, they're just going to elect for JJ to hop onto the Maverick and just try to be more of a nuisance in that sense. He did his job. He opened up some holes into the wall. He's going to vacate and maybe reposition with the rest of his team. The first Stoke-B call is going to be coming out, but it doesn't matter. Twist. Right now, it's a Twist rival 1v1. Twist with 8 kills, rival with 10. Our rival is going to fall. Here comes the first target from Deimos. It's going to be Mozzie that's going to be up on the board, and Recited. It's like, hey, he's over there. Sick him. Go get him. Get him, boy. Where is he? He's going to be hiding over towards these cargo stairs. This is a pretty good position. He's going to be difficult to dislodge. So it looks like there's not too much is going to come from this call from Recited.
It is at least going to make him a little bit wary, and it does give them a general idea of where he is. Inky so far, though, is pretty undetected here. JJ's going to get a pick onto Moses, though. Make the odds just a little bit better. They're going to call Twist again here as well, so they're going to know exactly where he is. And since Recited's in the basement, he can actually capitalize off of that information.
Whoa!
And Emilio, though, is going to be the one capitalizing off of other things, leaving Inky in a 1 versus 3.
He doesn't get the boss G. No way you do it, right? Yeah, Recited with the shotgun in hand. Shuts it down. Deimos coming into action. Wow, 4-2 is our halftime score for an offense on Fluffy AIMERS. And I'd imagine with the coach as well coming in, I feel like Fluffy AIMERS is just going to be that more consistent. They just need 3 rounds, and they showed that they could do 6 against Luminosity. But remember, Thrive was in this position with Cafe. They were able to pull it back. So it's not all doom and gloom. Thrive is known. Maybe they make a timeout. They bring in some good mentality if it does go 5-2. But Fluffy AIMERS, they're in pole position right now to win and advance to semifinals.
Now, a statistic I kind of want to highlight here that I think is interesting, unless there's been an error with my tracking, is that Thrive are actually dominating in the opening picks right now. They have 4 of the 6 opening picks that have happened, which again, really hope this is not an error. The some rounds was kind of tricky, but I'm fairly certain this is right, although some of them have been pretty close trades. But I highlighted their conversion rate in the pre-show because Thrive are very good at closing out a lot of rounds that they really probably shouldn't when they lose that opening pick, but that hasn't been the case so far on Labs. They've been getting that opening pick fairly consistently and then still losing that round. And that recovery ability from Fluffy AIMERS, to me, just kind of speaks to their knowledge and their skill on this map. They know this map inside and out, and they've just really been playing like it.
It's Recited who has his turn to maybe make some action with the Boss G. He's bringing the Vigil this time around. And to your stat point, I think what it is Fluffy AIMERS this is a more locked-in, new-look team with the momentum of Wildcard. So I don't think we can maybe read too much into those stats. I think it's still semi-accurate, but yeah, they're starting to kind of flip on their head in terms of these conversion rates. Fluffy AIMERS are going to use one of their, or not Fluffy AIMERS, excuse me. Thrive is going to use one of their calls, their Dokubi call. Skunky goes ahead and use it. Deimos used a tracker as well. But still, no kills have been resulted of it. Recited is still playing his life. And it looks like he's kind of being backed down into a corner. So they roughly know where he is. And they've got 2 minutes on the clock to try and maybe flush him out.
I actually don't know if they know where he is, because they've been kind of oblivious to that positioning. I mean, they're still checking their corners and everything. They're, they know someone could be up there still. But so far, no one's really looked for him directly. MK is going to get the opener onto Rival, however, and shut him down yet again. And this is probably going to prompt Recited to show his face a little bit, start poking and prodding at this room clear, and just see what he can find.
Yeah, Moses has been kind of looking warily around. Oh, somebody's watching the rotation. So, yeah. Wait, he didn't get the kill? Recited's still alive. Yeah, but he can't escape. It's now 5v2. And hold on, Thrive might take their first offense. So what we described as a defensive favored map is now looking to be big-time defense. Or, excuse me, offense, I should be saying. But Didi, he is going to find a kill. There's a minute left on the clock. Is there a way for Fluffy AIMERS to pull this one back? Here comes the final Dokkaebi call. There's a track it going on to Deity as well. The Bandits, his position's been given away. He's going to have some players start to swing on him. A Goo Mine was hit by Twist, but look at all this pressure coming in from Deity. He has to run, but the floor is opening. The roof has collapsed. Now all down to Emilio, and the dogs are going to start to be released. There even is a Deimos tracker from Twist that he can potentially use. Skunky, he's going to get dropped. The defuse comes through. Not really. Twist gets a kill. Man, I mean, dude, maybe it is an offensive favorite thing, Allie. I don't know, but I think the timeouts are still there. And remember how big of an impact those have. So if something does get a little bit out of hand, I would imagine that will be the tide changer here for map 2.
Honestly, that was a really good attacking run there from Thrive. They did a very good job of just isolating the players they wanted to kill on that roam, and then just making sure that Fluffy Aimers couldn't weasel their way into any cracks that might have been showing. And, I mean, it just ends up with them winning the round there. And it's going to prompt a slight change here from Fluffy Aimers, as they're going to go up to the top floor here. And I think part of the reason for that is that you usually don't roam as much on this site. And so there's a little bit less opportunity for like that shutout to happen that we saw Thrive go for last round. They are going to bring they were going to bring a buck here, but Moses is instead going to switch to that ace. So we're not going to see as much vertical play here, which means we're probably not going to see as much direct off-site pressure from Thrive. So there's a less opportunity for them to just shut out the roamers.
Fluffy Aimer, they're also not going to be bringing the Bandit, nothing like that can trick a wall. I didn't see exactly where JJ set up his Mira windows. I'd imagine maybe on that top garage. Who knows where he placed his second one. I'm curious if he put it on that main wall to maybe try and dissuade anybody from pushing. No, nobody's there. Is that even reinforced? Surely it's reinforced. Okay, so JJ's gonna put it on that server wall. Anyways, we are in a 5v5 here. Yeah, so work's gonna start be doing. There's no Bandit to stop them. They're gonna go for these breaches. Here comes Aimkey with another. So a lot of progress already being made by Thrive.
And he's gonna look to aggress onto Rafters here if he's at all able to. Although no one from Fluff Aimers is really gonna be in a position where he can just take a direct gunfight with them. Kendall has worked his way into IT, and he's gonna get an opening pick onto JJ. Twist is well in a good position at the top of water stairs, and he's going to get one of his own before working his way into the site. Twist with another one as well, as everything is going downhill for Thrive.
And Twist also has a shotgun up close and personal. He can just walk in the site and have his way, but he's going to hold his position, wait for his teammate. Here comes the diffuser. It's going down. Aimkey on the plant. Emilio and Resida, can they maybe stop this from happening? Emilio does find one. 2v3, but the diffuser is down, so 40 seconds on the clock. What can you work through for Fluffy Aimers? They have control of the diffuser, but a swing from Emilio, not going to happen. Wow, I mean, this looks to be an offensive favorite thing. Remember, Fluffy Aimers went perfect on their defense against Luminosity. Thrive, however, they're perfect on offense.
Congratulations, Thrive. You're better than Luminosity, at least so far on this map.
T2 on top.
T2, baby, let's go. Bring back relegations. But in all seriousness, I do think that part of this is just, again, like I was kind of talking about for a little bit on the defense, I think Thrive are making a very deliberate effort to just catch Fluffy Aimers off guard and be the ones who are in charge in the rounds. They're not letting Fluffy Aimers kind of have the system that they want and have the pace they want, because they're going in and making things happen very, very fast, and they're making things happen in multiple areas of the map at once. We see the player that was at the top of water stairs. He was more focused on what was actually happening in the site there, because they didn't know there was a player top water. And that extended pressure that Thrive employed ended up working out really well for them. And that is probably going to be the formula we see them try to work with for the rest of this attacking half.
Yeah, and if Thrive continue this wave of offensive wins, I feel like the timeout's going to have to come through for Fluffy Aimers. But what a start on the offense for Thrive. Can they continue this one, the momentum going? Or can we see a different look from Fluffy Aimers? And speaking of different looks, we are going to be heading to this first floor. A lot of trap pressure right now, and Reside is going to get an opening kill into Twist. Massive kill there, and did they stop the breach? Well, they got a little hold onto that garage wall. Nothing is probably going to come too much of it other than like an angle. It's going to be very difficult to hop in through that. Yeah, great start for Fluffy Aimers. They might be able to get it around on the unconventional site. And as I was saying, there is a lot of traps. Emilio recited, going to be putting a lot of pressure that Thrive are going to have to be worrying about. But great start, Ali.
Especially with that operator that Rivals playing, that Fenrir. He has traps of his own. We do see a quick entry into the site from Candle, but it ends up being punished by JJ. As now this quick pace setting that Thrive went for previously isn't working as well. As it looks like Fluffy Aimers have started to figure it out. JJ continues solving the puzzle with a pick onto aim key. That just leaves 2 up, which they only have to fight for now instead of 5 with that pick from Skunky. But they're still having to play this round from the backseat.
Yep, 4v2 for Fluffy Aimers, and this should be a round win as well. However, Skunky is fighting back. He's now at 8-5. He's got a little bit of control of the site. They might be able as well to get this camera or the diffuser, but the vertical play is still in favor of Fluffy Aimers. JJ makes aware of it, on for a quad this round. Skunky's the last player remaining. Is he going to go for the diffuser? Is he going to go for the kill? What is going to be his priority? Well, JJ is going to be the first one he has to worry about. Diffuser now in hand. Skunky, he's got a lot of different things to worry about, and I think JJ is going to be his biggest factor. Goes for the fake defuse. Going to reposition off of it. You try and get behind the desk. Here comes the defuser being planted down. Can he maybe make anything happen off of it? JJ quad gets it happening and gets it rolling. Fluffy Aimers, they're going to bounce back, courtesy of the captain.
Fast play doesn't work out nearly as well. We saw 2 separate people try to jump into the site, only to be felled by the captain himself, who gets a 4K that round, bringing back a little bit of that form we saw versus Luminosity, and that's going to prompt a Thrive timeout. We've talked about these a lot because they have been super impactful so far in this series. Both times that we've seen attack timeout being taken, the team that took it has come out on top in the preceding rounds. This time, however, I think it is a little bit different, given that we are on, again, a very good map for Fluffy Aimers, so we have seen Thrive still make a great effort of it. But that is also going to be a little bit more familiar territory for Archer to kind of work with, but then, you know, Thrive's coach is also going to be working with the advantage of kind of being the one who initiated it and having something more clear to talk about.
I think the very interesting thing is, yeah, we've seen these timeouts benefit, but this is Fluffy Aimers' map, and it's also on defense. So, I mean, yes, Thrive did win 2 offenses, but is Fluffy Aimers going to be able to reinstate their defensive strength that we saw against Luminosity coming out of this timeout, or can Thrive continue to use that timeout boost and continue on the offense? We haven't seen a lead yet for Thrive in this one, and that was the same way for Cafe until we hit overtime. The Fluffy Aimers still ended up winning. Can they get something out of that timeout? We're going to be seeing a Cade, Capcan. This looks pretty similar. If I'm not mistaken. Fluffy Aimers might have had a vigil. I can't even remember, bro. The operators are like leaving my brain. It's almost 12 o'clock. I can't remember operators from previous rounds.
Yeah, man, it's my bedtime. I want my. I was gonna say I want my warm milk and cookies, but that's like.
Don't out yourself too much.
It's the complete wrong month for that.
All right, well, Thrive. They used a timeout. We've seen how strong those timeouts were on the last map.
Blitz.
And this is going to be a... Oh, yeah, Blitz.
And a Ram.
Yeah, Blitz is...
And Videokabe.
Well, you think it's going to be aggressive? What are you thinking?
I mean, that's kind of been Thrive's MO so far on this attack.
The operators support that.
They only reinforce that. The Ram can make a lot of very quick vertical play, and then the Blitz is really good space taking, or also just really great execute operator. If you kind of hold that card in your hand till the actual execute goes down itself. You're going to see a little bit of an extension from Fluffy Aimers, which is going to fall off fairly quickly here, as they do want to preserve man count above all else. And especially with the way that I've kind of been playing this, that does make a lot of sense. It is going to give them a lot of room to work with, but they haven't really started working directly into the map yet, since they haven't realized that everything is free right now.
There's no EMPs to get rid of Deity's bandits, so it's going to make pushing that basement wall pretty much impossible. And you only got the 1 hard breach, so maybe just hatches, if that. So it might make a very narrow type of attack for Thrive, but they do have the blitz, so it might not matter. They might be able to just run through the chokehold. But as I say that, Emilio shuts down Aimkey. The Ram is out of the picture. However, there is one that's going to open up that floor a little bit. A good start for Fluffy Aimers. It seems like they've gone for a bit of a bunker control. And now Twist is going to find JJ, so that's Cade down. I mean, Fluffy Aimers, they've got the bunker set up right now. They are just holding deep. Wait, hold on. How did they get that bandit? So they're going to be able to open up that one wall. Did they go above?
Yeah, they have vertical control above the site. You can pretty easily see that wall. It's going to allow for that to be open. There is a blind spot on the site, it looks like, though, which might have a defender inside of it over on that, like, vault up by the 2 boxes. And if they're not aware of that, that could potentially be deadly. They're also kind of starting to poke at Elevator a little bit.
Wow.
The vertical play is better for Deity. He's going to be taken out. Skunky's going to run down these vending stairs on the blitz as Rosetta gets one of his own as everything's about to unfold at once.
Yeah, one smoke out, and that's going to give Skunky the A-OK to walk on through. He has found one player. He also has the diffuser. He's going to hit a Kapkan trap. There wasn't 2 on that, so he's only brought down to 50 HP. Recited falls. It's now Diffuse most likely coming in for Thrive. Yep, it's a little bit of a turtle plant. Skunky is going to put the shield on his back, get the diffuser down, and now 40 seconds against for Fluffy Aimers. And this vertical play, it has been so strong for Thrive. Rival now left in a 1v3, but look at the health pools that are coming through. 1 player knocked, 2 players at 1 HP, now 1 player at 1 HP. Twist, 14 kills, but he's going to have to get 1 more to get this round. The res still has not come through. But it's this player on the vertical play. What does Rival decide to do? Does he long arm it? Does he bait the diffuse? Is Twist going to be able to spot him? I don't know if he saw him. He hopped off. Twist with 15 kills and a round clutch. And that timeout, once again, it's going to benefit Thrive. And they continue that hot streak on offense.
Tied things up 5-5 now as things are really starting to get heated. More heated than they were in the previous map as well. We're going to need all of regulation to finish out this map at the very least, as we'll see Kitchen Cafeteria be brought out for the first time on this map.
Yeah, now we're starting to see a little bit of a change up. Yeah, the bunker play, they had the Cade, they had the Bandit, and there was no EMPs on side of Thrive, but they were like, screw it, we'll just play the vertical play. And it came into its full fruition. It was just, I mean, Twist was just raining it down. And now you can't really play vertical as much on this site. It's not as strong. I mean, would you agree with me? Don't take my word for it. Like, vertical play is not as super strong.
I mean, there's still quite a bit of vert you can do. It's just not, like, the same. Like, if you go up into meeting, you can use, like, a ram or a buck to open up a lot of space above the kitchen itself. And then that meeting hall is also destructible, so you can get some play done there as well. And that's just kind of ground you want to take anyway, since you want to get this hatch that Amelia is about to jump outside to reinforce.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, he's going for the hatch outside, so I've never thought about that. I'm going to use that. Because I'm a bunker player, bro. I just sit and sight and hold my iron up, bro. But I'm going to have to do that now. Yeah, but don't listen to me, bro. That's just me being dumb. I didn't even know you could do something like that. Amelia hops on out, gets the hatch reinforced, and I think that reinvigorates into the minds like, hey, we're going for a bunker setup. You have to push us.
Yeah, they do want Thrive to kind of come to them, but Thrive have been more than willing to come to them so far, and it has worked fairly well for them, with them getting 3 rounds so far on this attack. They're going to look to push out Deity as soon as they can here, and he's going to kind of fall off here pretty quick, since he can't really stay in that position any longer. He is going to successfully get back to the site, which is very good for them, and they're going to probably reinforce this wall as well, so that position... not held for very long in the grand scheme of things, but it does force Thrive to clear them out a little bit, and that is going to waste about a minute of their time. They have actually gotten into the building, though, and they are starting to work vert with this ram, and the next step is going to be to get that kitchen wall open.
Yeah, don't listen to me. I said, vert's not going to be that big of a play. Well, a lot of that first floor is just getting absolutely exposed with that ram coming into factor. And they brought also a lot of EMPs Thrive, which is good with this Cade in play, so they can maybe get some of these hatches open. They might even be able to shoot out one. Ooh, that's a Mira gone. They have done a lot of work. They haven't gotten kills yet, but they've got vertical play. They've gotten players off of that second floor. So a lot of good work from Thrive. There's still a minute 20 now on the clock. The Fluffy Aimers, I feel like they're going to be panicking, but the drone comes through, and I see you. Twist, 16 kills. Advantage Thrive.
Only about a minute left here, and Thrive have already started poking at the site. They've gotten the opener they want as well. Now they just have to actually get onto the site itself. They need to clear enough that they can work this space. JJ is going to get one back, though, onto Moses. And there is some space being worked over by Kitchen. But if they could get this pick and lounge, that could be absolutely huge.
4v4, 40 seconds. Can Thrive get their first lead, or will Fluffy clutch up once again? Diffuser back in the hands of Thrive. Now 30 seconds on the clock. Deity. He has a big job to do. Here comes the final Dokkaebi call. They've got Grim Canisters going out. Where are you hiding? Kills coming through. Rival is going to just stick it and hold within the busy bees. But he is about to get very busy. There's players flying at him. JJ falls. Captain down. Twist with another kill to his name on a double. 17-5. This dude putting up one heck of a performance on Nighthaven. Now there's 2 players remaining for Fluffy AIMERS, but the clock is in favor of the defense. Don't peek that window. Don't peek that hole. It's Rival. 2 kills to his name, but Twist is coming through. Can he get the snap? No. The timer expires despite the best efforts from Twist. And Fluffy AIMERS are going to walk away by the skin of their teeth.
It is close and it is a brawl, but nonetheless, Fluffy AIMERS managed to clutch it out off of largely some really great plays from Rival just sitting in that position, only being caught out in the dying seconds of that round. And now we have overtime. Seeing a little bit of deliberation on what side exactly to go next for Fluffy AIMERS, and they're going to choose Tank and Assembly. And this is a site that I believe Thrive have successfully attacked each time so far on their offensive half, except for maybe one win from Fluffy AIMERS early on. And that's a really good setup for them. We are seeing, actually, I think pretty much the same defense we saw before. Although I want them to have a little bit more offsite presence than they did before. As Thrive, they know how to work that space. And when you give them that space, especially with the amount of vertical play operators that we're bringing, that is just going to kind of spell disaster.
Fluffy AIMERS, chance to get it done right now. They are on map point, series point, semifinals bound. If they can clutch up on defense, or will it be overtime once again? Thrive, they have been showing it. We talked about the power of the timeouts. They were able to get one round, but they need this one now to cement it. It is going to be Fluffy AIMERS trying to get this done, but the operator selection's nothing too crazy coming in. Everything's kind of being standardized so far. But boy, I don't know. Where do you feel, Ali? Any predictions?
Honestly, my only really prediction for this is that we probably get overtime. I don't know who wins in that overtime, but I think we probably do get overtime. That being said, though, we do have kind of what I was wishing for, with a lot more upstairs presence being kind of utilized by Fluffy AIMERS. They have bandits on this IT wall. They have a player inside a server as well, and a player top Aqua. The only kind of real downside to this is that Thrive could potentially go for something fast onto the site if they can get the wall open, but they don't really have the utility to do that right now.
Minute 50 on the clock. We haven't seen any kills just yet. Emilio might be the first line. He started off slow, but now at 4-7, you kind of pulled it back. But I think the show really is between Twist and Rival. 16 kills for Rival, 18 for Twist. He's almost triple. What would that be? Yeah, he's over triple positive. Dude is putting on a storm right now, helping this team fight back into this one. But despite his efforts, Fluffy still have the lead. Diffuser in the hand of Moses. We thought this imperious defense from Fluffy would continue to come through after that Fluffy wildcard weekend. But Thrive have found some cracks in the armor. First kills are going to go both ways. They're not going to really matter still. 4v4 in the grand scheme of things. We lost Thatcher and we lost the Bandit. Is the Bandit trick going to be out? Well, his counter is out. Nothing too crazy is happening so far. Minute now on the clock. Vertical play coming in from Moses, but only onto the first floor. Recited finds a massive kill onto Anki. The Ram is down. I'm not sure how much work Ram got in, but Rival, he's hanging out towards these couches. Is the Buck going to spot him? Yeah, he's actually going to even get hit by the shotgun, so Rival's going to have to run. Did he escape? Recited with the C4. We talked about how big Rival has been. Well, it's Recited's turn to get into the fray. Rival's also going to drop. Twist finds the kill. 19 kills. If he gets a 20 bomb and loses, oh, how heartbreaking that would be. 2v3, 30 seconds on the clock. Nobody's really in towards sight. No more shotguns. Skeleton keys for Moses, so he can't open up that floor anymore. He used so much onto that second floor. He's going to drop the hatch, and to his demise, he falls. It's all down to the hero of Thrive. 19 kills in a dream. Fluffy Aimers will advance to the semifinals. 2-0 fashion. Thrive, despite a 5-1 group stage, are going to fall in the quarterfinals. Dominant fashion, kind of, you can say. I mean, we had some close maps, but in the end, it is a 2-0 scoreline. Fluffy Aimers, yes, they were a play-in team, but they are a feared team. This is a team that I expect to be in the distance for this one.
I do fully expect to see a Fluffy Hammers in the grand finals, and they showed us why today, taking down one of the best teams in this season of Xenon 2-0. And both games were very close, and I do want to give Thrive's props for that. They did absolutely amazingly tonight, but unfortunately, it just doesn't end up being enough. That's the kind of the deal with playoffs. One team has to go home, and in this case, it's going to be Thrive.
Yeah, congratulations to Thrive. I mean, they had a spectacular group stage, but they kind of got unlucky drawing Fluffy Aimers, who they weren't super locked in, that we've heard during their group stage. And now they are fully locked in with momentum out of that wildcard weekend. They've got a coach. They seemed equipped to go the difference, Fluffy Aimers. And I believe we have an interview coming up. We've got JJ. We're probably just waiting on him to get all settled done. He's probably ready to go to sleep, but this game has been a little bit extended, so he's probably going to be rushing in. Yeah, we got JJ that's going to be coming your way. Allie, before we bring him in, I'm curious, as we look at Fluffy into the future, how do you see the rest of this tournament going for them?
I mean, like I said, I fully expect we're going to see them in the grand finals. They've shown that they want to get there, and now that honestly, they've probably gotten rid of one of their tougher opponents as well. I don't remember who. I think someone was predicting a Makers Fluffy Aimers grand final, though I have not looked at the bracket in a little bit.
I mean,
so
that would make sense.
That's technically possible.
You want to hear the bracket?
Sure.
Yeah, so we've got Makers on the bottom half of it, and then it's Card & Co. and Mormon Battalion. I'd probably go Makers making it to grand final. And then the top half, I think, is where it's interesting. You got SSGA, you got Wildcard Aces. The winner of that will play Fluffy. I think SSGA, Fluffy Aimers, is probably the likely outcome there. I don't know. I mean, Wildcard Aces, they can lose against the most unexpected games, and they can win the most unexpected games.
Yeah.
That's usually the story with them.
I mean, I did see them 7-1 Card & Co. on Nighthaven, so they do have some firepower in them. I think that was the game it was casted with Nomical, where all of his notes for what was important was just Fens, because that guy was on an absolute tear. They just could not catch a break from that guy running around the Zorix.
Yeah, well, we've got our interview ready with JJ, so let's bring him in. JJ, I don't know if you're gonna come into my screen here. JJ, can you hear me, brother?
Hello, I can hear you,
What's
my
up,
boy.
Man?
What
Dude,
it
it's good seeing you
do?
again. It's a new era in Xenon. You guys kind of started cold, but dude, you guys were red hot. You took them down in Cafe, which was their map starting here. I'm curious, man. How are you feeling about your expectations in Xenon?
I think we're winning this league, I'm gonna be honest. Only real competition I really see it. I mean, I'm actually really excited for this. Obviously I'm confident I think we should win, but there's a lot of good teams in T2. I'm actually really excited that the bracket we got, our bracket on paper should be the hardest, which is the way I want it. I want to kind of prove that we are the team right now in T2 that is kind of you got to look out for us, you know what I mean? But we got these guys today who they self-proclaim that they are the best T2 team when they're fucking ass. Those guys are gloat about beating us in E3 when bro, our team fucking sucked and we knew it. We were literally just there because we had to play. Our team wasn't gonna win. We knew that. So it's good to kind of put those guys back in their place because they're not good, man.
Wow.
So but I'm excited to hopefully get SSGA tomorrow.
All right. Do you want
or
SSGA?
whenever the next we play. I mean, yeah, obviously those
I think
guys.
it's interesting because you're going to be playing one of the academy teams of the teams that you played in that wild card because you beat wild card and then you played SSG. Now you're going to get
Ashen isn't here, so I'm not really worried.
Yeah, it should be a little bit easier this time around. But you guys have brought in a coach, and we saw those timeouts come through, and we saw us rounds start to swing. I'm curious, how has the coach been impacting your team now that you're in the Xenon here? And he was a little bit in wild card, correct?
Yeah, so like we started trying him like the day before wildcard restart started. So he didn't really like, he was more like he was just kind of like inputting here and there and helping us out, but like not really like implementing anything yet, if that makes sense. And so now we've had a little bit more of a chance to work with him. He helped out in wildcard reset definitely, like just kind of like keeping us cool. But the main thing is like if you watch our playstyle, like we're very like fast paced, like fly at you team, kind of like just think first, ask questions later. So like that's always going to be the style here. That's never going to change. That's going to be our primary play style. But we do recognize that we can't get away with always just sending it at 100%. And there is going to be times where like we need to be more calculated in structures, especially versus like kind of like pro teams. So that's kind of what he's here working on, is really improving our strategic level of game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, well, I'm curious. You guys came out of that timeout in overtime. What was the message as you guys had you had the lead pretty much the whole series, and then they got their first one. So what was the message like coming out of that timeout?
I personally think, well, the message from coach, well, first of all, before the game started, I told coach that he shouldn't have to call any timeouts today because those guys suck, and then we threw like a 4-man lead to get down on match point. So he had to call a timeout, which that didn't go in plan. Anyway, his message was just kind of like focus up back on our fundamentals, kind of like gave us some insight on like they're doing this, you guys should really just need to stay the hell alive and kind of play like this. I also felt like the reason we kind of got in that hole where we lost 4 in a straight, like went to overtime and we're down, was because like we kind of got away from our style. Like I think every attack round, like we were up like 6-4 or 6-3 or whatever, and like we were winning those early attacks because we were like just floating, like finding gaps, and like those guys really struggle when you play an open style siege versus them. They're okay if you play like slow methodical, they can read you, but they panic really bad if you just start walking around.
I think there's a debate that's kind of starting to happen. We mentioned a little bit on the broadcast about relegation and T2 and how it can challenge T1, and I think you guys showcased that over the weekend. What's your perspective on how T2 teams should be interacting with T1 and playing at higher levels?
Oh, I would love the opportunity for it. I was like looking on paper today because I'm like kind of prepping for like the LCQ and everything and major calls, and just like kind of thinking about it. And I was like counting the PL teams by hand, and out of all the 9 PL teams, I'm confident in our ability to beat 7 or 6 of them. Like right away, like right now, I think we could beat 6 of them in a game day environment.
You want a name drop?
So I beat 2 of them already.
Yeah, I mean, we can knock those 2 out.
I personally don't think I beat Los on game day already too, so there's 3. Whether I don't care what they've come with the new rosters. I will say one team that I do not feel confident being in is DZ. Those fucking guys own me. Those guys in SSG. So the process of elimination, the rest. Anyway, I would love the opportunity, but I also think like I think we can beat T2 teams. I don't know if any of these other guys or T1 teams. I don't think these other teams can. I don't think they're built like us. I don't think they got the mentality like us. I don't think they can float like us. So I don't think they can, but we would love the opportunity.
Yeah, and you guys are showing out and popping off, and now you have an opportunity to maybe kind of crown yourself here in Xenon in T2. Now, moving forward, you beat Luminosity handedly on that Night Haven. You won 6 defensive rounds, and it kind of you guys slipped. I was saying right before the halftime, you guys were up like 3-2. I'm like, if you guys go up 4-2 with 6 rounds under your belt against Luminosity, surely you win it. It got scary there. What was the switch up in terms of why you struggled more on defense today versus compared to what you did up against Luminosity?
I don't know. Today was like, I don't know, we weren't really that locked. We weren't really locked in that well today, honestly. Like DD was negative like 10 or something. I don't know. I will say they were doing a decent job on the attack split of like kind of just sending it, which like they catch us off guard because we don't expect them out of them. They're pretty slow. And Twist also kind of just had a career game, if we're being honest. He almost dropped 20. Twist kind of just bailed them out of a bunch of rounds. Like there was one round on our first top 4 defense where they just like ran into IT and just killed me inside. I'm like, guys, who the fuck let him walk in IT and kill me? Like, I'm like, what'd you want me to do there? So I don't know. I mean, Twitch kind of just had a career game, man. Like it is what it is. It happens. Indeed, he had a shit game. Siege.
I mean, in the end, you guys got it done. Thank you, JJ, for coming on. Best of luck as you guys advance through the tournament.
Thank you. You fucking suck.
Yeah, you want to get? I know you let the chirp, bro. If you want to chirp or
Oh.
like shout out anybody, you can go ahead. I'll give you a little moment if you want.
Oh, I can shut out people? Okay, yeah,
I
Amki,
don't
you
care,
fucking
yeah.
suck, buddy. Look at me right here. Amki, you fucking suck.
I mean, they might pull you off.
Also,
I don't know. They didn't pull you off when we did
Shout-
Blitz Gaming.
They did.
You-
Shout out
you-
Bry, shout out Twizzler, shout out Riot, shout out Beano, shout out all my current teammates, shout out Coach Archer, he's been a beast so far with us, and shout out Fluffy AIMERS, love my org.
All right, there you go. Thank you, JJ, for coming on. Best of luck as
Thank
you
you.
advance. We're looking at you maybe to make that final. You showed up against Thrive.
Yeah, we'll be
Expect
there.
you to
SSG
go-
isn't going to beat us.
Yeah, there you go. I like that from you. All right, best of luck, man. Congratulations on the win
Thank
today. But folks, I believe that's good. I don't know if we're bringing Allie back onto the camera. Yeah, it looks like Allie's coming back. Allie, you there? Can I hear you?
Free.
I can't hear you.
Oh wait, I was muted in Discord, so you can
There-
focus.
there you go. Thank you for letting me dial in. But nah, man, Allie, you just heard from JJ there, and I think it's really interesting hearing him compare T2 to T1 and how he views his team and how they stack up in the general scheme of NA Rainbow. What was your kind of takeaways listening in on that?
I mean, I do think that there needs to be more kind of opportunities for T1 and T2 to kind of play against each other, as it does create interesting storylines when you just like have games like we did in Wildcard Restart, and it also just gives an opportunity for both sides to kind of benefit from one another.
Yeah, well, taking a look at it, I mean, he talked about like, hey, Twist had the game of his life, especially in that map too. There were people pulling their weight on Fluffy AIMERS as well. I mean, did he say Deity? I think he like said now Deity. Yeah, I mean 19 and 26. He's like Deity wasn't really himself today. I think Emilio was very passive in his fights, and it was interesting because he was like, dude, our brand is playing very, very, very aggressive, and we didn't really get to see that today, especially on Cafe. I think it looked like a little flustered. I think if they can stick to the fast-paced tempo that they play and keep true to that, we can see this team even take another level than what we saw in this 2-0 win today. There's a flash.
Zaysho jump scare. For those of you who were wondering, when you heard the Backstreet Boys song earlier, that was Zaysho singing it, so we got a little bit of an appearance from him. However, though, let's get an appearance from this bracket that we have. Just kind of see what is going on there. So we see Fluffy AIMERS and Morbin Battalion move on, and then tomorrow we're going to send the other two semifinalists, those being Wildcard Aces versus SSG Academy, and Makers versus Carnico.
Yeah, and it was interesting because JJ said, like, we got the difficult side of the bracket. I mean, you got to go Thrive, and then you got to either go SSGA or Wildcard Aces. I think most people are going to be going SSGA to come out of that one. And then you got to go whoever makes it out of the bottom half for the final. So yeah, Fluffy AIMERS, they do have a difficult road, but a lot of confidence coming in from JJ and team. We do have SSGA, Wildcard Aces, Makers, Carnico coming to your screen, so you got to make sure to check in for those ones. Those should be some great games. Any predictions as we start to close off here, Allie, for our next set of games?
I mean, I would predict that Makers probably beat Carnico.
Yeah.
Makers have had a little bit of trouble since they did lose two of their players to Pro League teams, but at the same time, they did get Adam and I forget who the other one was already. I am a fake fan. But just Adam alone, there was Adam and Tristan. Got Adam and Tristan, who are two highly mechanically skilled players, and Adam especially has been working wonders for them, kind of filling the hole that I think a lot of people thought that Kobe was going to kind of leave. And then, I think it is going to be kind of close between SSG Academy and Wildcard, but I do think that SSG is probably going to take the edge there.
Well, folks, we have Makers Carnico. That's going to be the first game on tomorrow. And then we also have Space Station Gaming, Wildcard Aces for our second game. But, folks, that's just about going to do it here. Thank you guys all for tuning in. It is late. I mean, we're past the midnight mark, but we appreciate you guys being in here and sticking with us throughout this series. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the rest of our action. We've got to wrap up quarterfinals, and then it's crunch time here in XGS. But until next time, folks, take care and have a good night.
You sign up, it's too late. I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't another mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Now I can see that we're falling apart. the moment that it used to be. Yeah, no matter the distance, I want you to know that deep down inside of me, yeah, my fire, the one desire. You are, you are, you are. Don't wanna hear you say ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me motherfucking why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heart. Tell me why. Mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say that Zay Show is not a TPL caster, because I just fucking rock this song because I want it that way. TPL, Matthew Tape, Adam Stanley. Give me caster.